All right, we're gonna get going. Let me grab a couple markers.
Oh, I should have brought.
It's recording
one day,
already.
Don't bring paper.
It's recording? Okay, so we have to talk really wonderfully about how great things are.
Oh, thanks. I bring copy
If you
or
could.
we
Or
can
maybe
never
some
write
dark
anything down.
highlighter.
Do you need some paper?
Some deep blue or
Eric's
orange
gonna use
highlighter.
Oh, what a gentleman.
Maybe we could
I
use
don't have a
those.
pen either. Well, he's getting markers.
I would have, $2 I'd get anybody.
Bigger
So.
these.
Do you guys, do you need paper or pen? You're good? Good? You're good? Okay, great.
She hasn't set up her desk yet.
What's that?
You haven't set up your desk.
Yeah, I did.
With paper, pencils, pens.
I got pens, I got little things.
this yours
I
or
got
his?
paper
It's not mine.
clips and.
Yeah, this is mine.
Do you have a pen or no?
I'm borrowing.
Okay, guys, well, I'm getting kind of warmed up here a little bit. Just a little bit of full disclosure.
Hello.
The chances are highly probable that I'm gonna go way past 3 o'clock today. So for those of you that are kind of new to our group, if we don't take breaks, you cannot insult me if you have to get up and go to the bathroom, or if you have an appointment at 3 and you have to leave, or if you have an appointment at 1 or 2:30 you have to leave. Don't worry about it, just get up, exit out the back, we're gonna keep going. Whatever you miss, we're videoing, so if you feel like you're leaving in the middle of something great, don't worry about it, we'll video it and then we'll have it posted on the website. Normally Brian gets it up within 2 or 3 days. But there's a lot of stuff we're gonna cover today. Believe it or not, I don't think I'm gonna be able to come close to finishing what I wanna finish in 2 hours, so we'll probably go to 4. So for those of you that were thinking about getting out of here, earlier than that, then just don't worry about it. If I'm talking to myself at 3 o'clock, the video will still be running and that's okay. So if you're the last one to leave, don't worry about it. I'm gonna keep on going. Okay, what we're doing today is a business planning class. I've got 2 thoughts going through my mind right now. Number one, I'm excited because we got a few more bodies in the room than we normally do. And then honestly, I'm a little disappointed because we should have 200 agents in this room right now. We literally should have, we should have had to have booked a hotel for
It would be
this particular class.
Yeah.
And the fact that we are not standing room only is actually disappointing. Are we going? Oh, we're going. Someone pushed the play button. So, at any rate, it pains me that every year we talk about business planning. Every year I make myself available. Steve will make himself available. All of our managers will make ourselves available. And we just don't take it seriously. And when I say we, I don't mean me. I mean not everybody in this room, but whoever's not in this room. Because we don't do business plans. We just figure out whatever. I don't need a business plan. I'll just do it. I'll figure it out. And quite honestly, the results are normally, you don't have a business plan and the results are, they show it, you know. I just went to lunch with a couple of our agents earlier and I'll share some numbers here with you and we'll put some numbers up here on the board here in a little bit. The there's about 30,000 real estate agents in CRMLS, okay? 50% of those agents close 0 deals a year, 0. Many of those agents have been in the business for years. They close 0 deals. They might have closed 2 deals in 5 years, okay? You think they have a business plan? Yeah, well, their business plan is to close 1 deal every 3 years, okay? Which is not a plan, that's an accident. That's an aunt, that's an uncle, that's a brother, that's a sister. So 50% of the business, or the agents, frankly, do nothing. And these are agents, these are paying their board dues, they're paying their MLS. The reality is most of them have a spouse in the business, or excuse me, has a spouse in the real world, real job, okay? And they don't have to make any money. They don't have to. So this is a hobby. This is a place to come hang out. And some of these agents will show up every single day, and they'll work every single day. Work every single day. Showing up into the office is not my definition of working. We've got to basically have a plan that says showing up at 10 o'clock milling around the coffee machine for an hour, playing solitaire, going outside, having a few cigarettes, socializing, and then leaving the office at 3 o'clock is not, it's not a, that's, and then you come home, hey, how was your day, honey? Oh, it was, whew! Exhausted. Now again, and that may sound funny, that may sound sad, that may sound like a variety of things to you, but the reality is that is not unusual. That is more common than you would think, and it's pretty sad commentary on our business. I'll try to leave names out because we are recording this, and I don't want to necessarily put somebody on the spot who's going to see this in a recording later on. But again, I was speaking with some other agents earlier today, and we're talking about specific agents. You know, wow, look at this person. Look how great this person has done. Okay, well, they have some sort of a plan in place. Okay, it may not be the perfect plan. It may be on the back of a napkin. And you hear all about, well, all your plans have to be in writing, and you know, you need to put your goals on your bathroom mirror. So every morning, you know, I get all that. I'm all for that. That's not for everybody. Does anybody have a goal taped to their bathroom mirror right now? Anybody in this room? Okay, Steve. Okay, Steven does. And that doesn't surprise me because Steven, at least for the, again, I said I wasn't going to name names. This guy over here does. But I know for a fact that his focus, at least for the last year, has been very much of that. It has been a focus on a plan. And when you focus on that plan, and then when you get some outside coaching and stuff, they'll come and they'll tell you, go over on your bathroom mirror and put something on your, I don't know what his goal is, but, okay. Maybe it's nothing more than $250,000 written in lipstick up in the corner of the mirror. Or maybe it's a weight loss goal. I want to get down to 250 pounds by the end of the year. So whatever. So, but if that's your style, great. But it doesn't necessarily. If you don't do that, that doesn't necessarily mean you don't have a goal. You still, of course, could have a goal. But whether or not you're actually executing that goal is really what this is all about. Are you executing that goal? I'm going to pull up some stuff here in a little bit. I'm just actually getting this kind of primed. For some stuff we're going to talk about a little bit later. It takes a minute or two. Is it hot in here?
Yes.
Yeah.
Ooh. Drew, can you maybe open that door? And there's no way I'm going to make 3 hours in this room if it's without a little bit of
Yeah,
air in
please,
there.
yeah.
I wasn't sure if I was just sick or what was going
Oh, it
on.
is
A lot of hot air in here.
But man, we got a lot of bodies, and I think our projector is about ready to take a dump as well. Okay, so with all of that in mind, we're going to talk a little bit, not a little bit, we're going to spend 3 hours about talking about planning, talking about income goals, and all that sort of stuff. There is a real basic, and I don't really like this, and as a matter of fact, for some of you that saw this came up and you said, oh my God, Lance, please tell me Lance is not going to spend 4 hours going over this. I'm not going to spend 4 hours going over this, but we are going to refer back to this throughout the entire day, and we're going to be bouncing back and forth, and we're going to do a lot of things. This is, and we'll start with this. This is a person who's seen this before. Okay. First of all, this is a Coldwell Banker branded personal action plan. This is nothing new. Who's been in the business for more than 2 years? Keep your hand up. 5 years. 10. 15. 20. Okay, we'll leave it at there with the old guys. This type of thing has been around. When I first got into the business, this was a business tool that my broker used with me. There is nothing, and most of you, I hope, have actually seen this. And this just talks about some basic stuff. So let's start with this, and we're going to bounce around a lot. Now, first of all, if you don't have prior year's business, using this tool is difficult. Okay. Because using this tool wants you to set next 12 months plan based upon the last 12 months plan. So there's several of you in the room that are brand new, haven't closed a deal. So this is going to kind of be impossible for you to fill out because you can't do this. So if you are in that particular set of circumstances, what you're going to do is you're going to just pretend that last year is what you, so if you wanted to make $100,000 next year, let's pretend for a moment that you made $100,000 last year, and let's kind of fill in the blanks. Now, if you did make $100,000 last year, well, can we agree that you know how to make $100,000 bucks? you did it, all right? So if you made 100 grand, in theory, if you kind of did what you did in the prior 12 months, market conditions not being too much different, you should be able to repeat it. Or obviously part of the thing in goal setting is to say, well, geez, if I did 100 grand last year, why can't I do 150 this? Or quite honestly, you may say, I did 100 grand last year, but it almost killed me. I don't think I want to do that again, or at least I don't know if I want to do it the same way, because it's too much. It was too much of a sacrifice on me physically, mentally, emotionally, my spouse, whatever it happened to be. So you may have to sit back and make a decision that wasn't, if I'm going to do it this year, I have to do it differently, because I can't work 80-hour, 90-hour weeks. I've got to, so maybe the goal is I want to make 100 grand, but I don't want to do it in an 80-hour work week. I want to do it in a 60-hour work week. So that's what this tool is going to help us for. Can you guys see this okay? It's a little small.
Is this something that we can
Yes.
get
It's on CB
copies
Works.
of?
You guys can get
It's
copies
on
of all
CB
this.
Works?
Yeah.
Okay,
It's
great.
on our site and all the rest of it, so I'm going to punch this up a little bit. So we're going to start off with some real basic stuff. And I'm going to keep the numbers simple. And by the way, a lot of the math is going to get a little fuzzy. I'm not a calculator wizard. So if I'm off by a little bit here and there, don't beat me up. If somebody wants to pull a calculator out and correct me as I go, I'm okay with that. But let's just start with this, and the numbers are simple. Everybody, when they get into this business, seems to have a $100,000 goal. I want to make 6 figures. The sad part about that is when I got into the business 27 years ago, the $100,000 goal seemed to be what we had 27 years ago. So it seems like we haven't adjusted for inflation, okay? So there's people in this room that made significantly more than 100 grand last year. So you're going to add a 0 to that, or you're going to add a couple zeros, or whatever the heck you're going to do. I don't know. We'll figure it out. So let's just start with the simple goal. We want to make 100 grand, okay? So now again, this says what I've done in the past 12 months. So let's assume I made 100 grand last year, and let's assume I want to do 100 grand again this year. All right? Actually, let's assume it a little bit differently here. Let's assume last year I did 80, and this year I want to do 100. But anyway, just work with me on this. The question is, if I made 80 or 100 grand last year, what type of business do I do? Okay? What type of business, what kind of realtor? By the way, the word is realtor. It's not realtor.
Realtors.
If you introduce yourself as a realtor in front of me, you better be careful. I will embarrass you. Okay? We are realtors. There's no A between the L and the T. Okay? So, what type of realtor do I want to be? Or a better question is, what type of realtor am I? So, a couple different options. Anybody, by the way, want to participate a little bit? It helps me out a lot.
New home builders.
You want, okay, all right, that's a matter of fact. Let's, that helps me with another category we're going to get to in a minute. Okay, so Chris says,
Thank you
I
very
want to
much.
be a realtor who, we can get rid of this. I want to be a realtor who deals with new home builders. Now what does that mean though? You want to be the listing agent for the builder?
Yeah. Builder
Okay.
closeouts.
So he wants to do new homes. You said closeouts?
Yeah.
Okay, new homes. He's defined that as a closeout. And you want to be the listing agent?
Chris, did you see the flyer I left on your desk?
Okay. All right. So there's a definition of a very specific type of agent. Are there agents that sit on new home tracts? Yeah, absolutely. They make a living. They tend to be cycles. By the way, is there an opportunity for agents in our local market to sit on new home tracts? How big is that? Is that a small sliver of the market right now, or a big sliver of the market right now? Pretty small sliver. So if this is where Chris wants to be, I don't know if you're positioned to do that. Do you have a developer? Do you have somebody? Do you have an in that you can sit back and say, hey, I hear you're doing a new track up here in Ontario, I want to be your guy. Can those folks make a tremendous amount of money? Absolutely. Okay? But again, I would think that's a small track. Okay, so we've got a new home close, and the closeout's kind of a different model. The closeout is the guy who comes in and sweeps up at the end, right? They had a 300 house development. There's 8 houses left. It doesn't make sense to keep the models and all the rest of that open, so they turn to Chris and say, hey, would you do our closeouts? Is that even a smaller market? Even smaller. Okay, so Chris is very, very precise on this. Let's get a little bit more general. What kind of agents are we?
Listing agent.
Listing agent. A general residential listing agent. I am a listing agent. Who wants to be a listing agent? What's the other type?
Buyer's agent.
Buyer's agent. Let's for now just focus on these 2 types of agents. Who knows what I like? What do I prefer?
Listing.
I prefer listing agent. Does that mean I'm telling you never to work with buyers?
Nope.
No. Why do I like being on the listing side of the transaction?
Control.
For me, I feel like I have more control over the transaction. It works better with my business model, which also works better with my lifestyle, which works better with the type of people I want to work with. That doesn't mean that my is the same as yours. Who in this room prefers to work with buyers? Nobody? Javier? Okay,
I
one?
don't know yet.
I think
We don't know yet?
I'd enjoy it actually. I
I
like
think I- yeah,
negotiating.
we don't-
Okay, well, I said I wasn't going to name names earlier, but I lied. Mike Boab in this office prefers to work with buyers. He's a very good agent. He's done business for as long as I have. We have this conversation periodically, unless he changed his mind in the last couple of years. He would say, oh, no, I would much rather be buyer's agent. That works better for him, okay? Personally, I prefer to be a listing agent for a bunch of reasons we're going to talk about later. Now, the reason we define this now is because we're talking about what we did last year in relation to what we're going to do next year, and we want to define what type of agent I'm going to be. So if I made, again, our goal of $100,000, let's just say that's what I did last year, that's what I want to do this year. How many listings did I take last year? So it's asking me a question, okay? So let's just pretend, I'm going to plug in, so I need another piece of paper here. So we're going to plug in the numbers, and we're just going to make this stuff up. If anybody wants to try to help me along, please do. And we're going to make this stuff up as we go. So let's say last year I did 100 grand. Hopefully these numbers will work out. And let's say last year I took 15 listings. 15 listings taken. Okay? Not sold, taken. All right? There you go. That's just a number. Put it away. What's my average price?
300?
300? I'm going to make more than 100 grand. My 15 listings taken, 300,000 is the average price per house. Now, this is very important. We're going to take a little break. Told you we're going to jump around a lot. We're going to jump around a lot. This is CRMLS. Okay? By the way, I like data. Okay? If you're going to have any sort of business plan that means anything, you need some data. You can't just start guessing. These are not guesses. Well, they're guesses for demonstration's sake, but for business planning's sake, you can't guess. Okay? You have to have a plan. This is CRMLS. This is 24 months. Most of you have been in my classes enough to know this is the median price, which, by the way, what happened in November? Pulled back just a little bit. Okay? Up. We pulled back in August, September, bounced back up a little bit in October, and we pulled back a little bit. Our market, by the way, this is a data point which is important for what? Your business plan. Is the market flattening a little bit? Okay, now if you think it's flattening a little bit, your opinion may be different. My opinion is that the values of property values are flattening a little bit. However, I do believe that we will see incremental increases in 2014. Last year, who was in the sales meeting 16 months ago and I said 17 months ago and I said property values are going to go up by what? 50%. Was I right? It's on tape, baby. Play the tape. Part of my business plan, I thought property values were going to go up 50%. I did not pull that number out of my ass, guys. I'm looking at all this stuff. I'm talking to people I trust. I'm going to conventions. I'm getting data. I'm hearing things and seeing things that make me believe property values are gonna go up 50%. My business plan was based on that in part. Now, I didn't necessarily make my income based upon a 50% increase, but I'm thinking that's where things are gonna go. Now, there was part of the equation that I missed. A part of the, I also thought not only were property values gonna go up, I also thought unit sales were gonna do what? Go up. I thought we were gonna sell more houses. Guess what? That part of my business plan, whoop, was off. I misinterpreted the data. Or the data didn't fit with my plan, okay? So, when I'm looking at this, maybe this is CRMLS, median price as of November is $357,500. We are in CRMLS. However, CRMLS is not monolithic. Median price in Moreno Valley is different than Covina, is different than Redlands, is different than Claremont, is different than North Orange County. So we just said that I made $100 grand, I took 15 listings, and I had a $300,000 sales price. If you have real data that that's the case, then that's the number you use. If you don't, most of you in this room don't have a 2013 model to look back at, or at least half of you don't. You haven't done that business. So you now have to figure out where do you want to sell real estate. Okay? Is there a big difference between taking 15 $300,000 houses and 15 $75,000 condos?
Yeah.
Right? Big difference. A significant difference. And by my calculations, these are about 25% less valuable than these. Which means my income is 25% of, you with me? So you have to be cognizant of where you're going to sell real estate. Are you going to focus on this city, that city? Where are you going to be? So it's very, very important, and these numbers are super important. We're going to come back to these here in a little bit. So let's go back over here. All right. So I took 15 at $300,000. The next question is how many did I sell? Let somebody help me out here. I sold 12. Why is this important?
All out rate.
So you closed escrow on 12 or you put 12 in escrow?
12. Is there a distinction?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Sold.
Is there a distinction on here?
No. No.
But that's a good number. That's important though. Let's use. Who said that, Steve?
Yes.
Okay. Let's say 12 of our listings went into escrow.
Yeah.
How many of them closed?
Number 10, total number of canceled sales. Is that-
Well, but
that's not
So listing sold.
that's on the buy side, I think.
Oh, okay.
By the way, obviously I haven't got this thing memorized. We're going to play around with it. But it's a good point. And by the way, we may veer off of this a little bit. Let's just suppose we put 12 of our 15 listings in escrow, and let's just make the number simple. 10 of them closed. Okay? 10 of them closed. Now that may be, I may have skipped ahead of myself here for a minute. If you already skipped ahead, just bear with me. Okay, so according to this, I took 15 $300,000 listings, I put 12 in escrow, so I lost 3 of them, and then on the way to close a deal, 20 or 2 of those fell out, about 12, 13, 14, 15%. So I closed 10. Did I sell them at 300,000? I don't know. Okay, let's just assume for the moment that my $300,000 listing sold for 300,000, but maybe it didn't. Maybe it sold
probably
for
sold for 350.
Oh, there you go. There you go. That's a weird one. My listings are actually, I'm selling my listings for more than I've listed them for, which has a positive impact on my sheet. Or, geez, my $300,000 listings, reality, I'm really only selling them for $280,000. I saw a hand or something. No?
I was just gonna ask.
Oh, yeah, Bob, yeah. I saw it.
What happened with the 3 listings?
They expired. I got fired.
Why did they expire? Why did you get fired?
We're going to get to that. It's a good question. Why?
Usually the only reason why is you had it overpriced.
Possibly.
You create a relationship at the beginning.
They were short sales and they went to foreclosure.
Buyer backed out.
But then we asked, why did they? Should I have taken the listing in the first place? Should I have the 3 listings that didn't? And I know where you're going with this. The 3 listings that didn't sell, did they not sell because of something I did or didn't do? Was it out of my control? Was it something that I've learned from and I will do differently next time? Should I not have taken the listing?
Short sales. Yeah, I've had short sales get foreclosed on.
By the way, is that a type of agent?
Yeah.
Who wants to be a short sale agent?
Don't all jump up.
Okay, I
Okay, and-
Debbie does.
and we announced that. Okay, it's so amazing. Let's mark the tape. Today is December 12th, 2013. A year ago, 2 years ago, who wanted to be a short sale agent?
Everybody.
Now, nobody in this room. This is Debbie.
Debbie will do it.
Short sale agent? Are you kidding me? Why is that? Because short sales are a pain in the ass, and they're painful, and the fallout rate is too high, and.
But the banks are being a little better.
So maybe I want to be a short sale agent.
Yeah, even the seconds that
Okay.
jack up everything will settle for what they can
Okay, well
get.
think about it. Think about this. Is there short sale business that's going to be done in 2014?
Yes.
Based upon the temperature of this room, I would probably just be quiet. I'd walk out and say, I'm going to be a short sale agent. Because guess what? We have a representative, so there's 20 people in here. 5% of you, and I think Debbie just did hers as an afterthought, said, Anna, would you grab my phone for me? Pass that down there. You don't have to answer it, just.
Yeah.
5% of you said I want to focus on short sales. Maybe Bob's changing his mind. It's kind of nice to have a little bit of a business model that nobody else.
I don't turn down anything.
Right.
I'll do a short sale because to me, it's better to make some money than no money.
Yep.
Everyone, who likes that?
Yeah,
Very nice.
I agree.
But
I like
never
that.
turned down any
But
work.
they're a pain in the ass.
I like that. Does that mean I don't want to turn down anything either? But do we occasionally need to walk away from business?
Yeah.
Yeah. I went up today. We signed up 3 rental properties that are 60 miles away from this office and 45 miles away from the next closest office up in Victorville. Okay, I made a decision. I made a Bob decision. I'm not walking away from that. They're rentals. Yeah, the margins are low. I made a business decision that I wanted to take those 3 rental properties that are an hour one-way drive because it fits into my business model. Now, is there a point in time where I say, will I do Barstow? Will I do State Line? Will I do Bakersfield? Who said yeah on State Line?
No, if you get 10 of them in Barstow, then they
Okay. How about Bakersfield? How about San Luis Obispo? At some
50
point,
of them.
but at some point, we're going to
At
say no.
Barstow, I would co-list.
Okay, so different part of my business model.
Yeah.
Now that's by the way, who wants to be a referral agent? Or have at least a portion. By the way, you don't have to fit in one of these boxes. You can be multiple of these.
Well, I've
Okay.
co-listed with agents that have lived up in the high desert
Okay.
and split the commission.
Okay.
But the last sale that I did was a short sale in Apple Valley. So
Who does
I
what
know
Bob
you're
just
paying-
said, as opposed to somebody calls you up and says, I think I've got a listing in, forget about the high desert. My brother-in-law is looking for an agent in Florida, in Miami. Who is proactive connecting the brother-in-law with a couple, 3 hands?
Oh, that's easy money.
It's easy money. But so there's 20 people in here. Without further prompting, only 3 hands went up, which means 85% of the people in this room, it's in Florida.
No, well, you gotta do referrals because it's,
No, you don't. 17
easy money.
people in this room, 17 people in this room did not raise their hand.
well, I voiced.
Wait a minute, I don't count because I don't know what I'm
Okay,
doing.
16 people in this room, 70, at least half of you, by the way, I'm gonna call bullshit, okay? Half of you are not interested in finding an agent in Miami. I don't care what you say. Next time, everyone will raise their hand, and I'm in line.
Because I'm thinking I could, because I have a friend who's a Coldwell Banker agent in New York.
Right. It's a
So
phone call.
I would, yeah,
If you
'cause
have
she
a
probably
line
knows
that's-
If
someone
you
that
guys got a
works
phone
there.
call,
Yeah.
think of how nice this is. You get a phone call. Drew, this is Joe from Coldwell Banker, Miami. I've got a client, he's working for me. He's got his brother-in-law, he's got a house in Moreno Valley. He needs an agent, would you please help? I want to keep it in the Coldwell Banker family. By the way, I'd like a 30% referral, which is 30% is a little bit on the higher side, 20, 25%. Want a 30% referral.
Negotiate.
Maybe you negotiate it, maybe you don't. But do you take that referral?
Yeah.
Yes. Do you close it? Do you send the guy a check for 30%? Yes. What did he do? He took a few minutes, he made a couple phone calls, and he did that deal, and he made a friend in Miami for the brother, whatever it happens to be. So there is a referring agent. That doesn't necessarily mean that 100% of your business is going to come from referrals, but if you don't have a goal of at least 5 to 10% of your annual income coming from referral business, then I would just suggest you're not even trying. You're just not trying to get that business. Okay, so let's get back up here real quick. So we've got 15 listings taken. We can talk more about why only 12 of them went in escrow, and we can talk more about why only 10 of them closed out of the 12. All right, so now we've got average sales price. Okay, number of buy sides. Number of buyer sales. Okay, I think what that's asking me is how many escrows did I open that were representing buyers?
got them done.
No, these are listings.
Yeah, this is-
This is just listings. This is our
I'm
listings.
talking representing
Now we're
buyers.
talking buyers.
Oh, okay.
How many buyers did I represent that went into escrow?
10.
10. 10 in escrow, and then somewhere as a question is, probably what the price was. How much of those buy sides, 10 in escrow, what's my average sales price of those? Is it
250,000.
250? For some reason, I've worked with buyers that are a little less expensive. 250,000 average sales price. How many of them, I think it says how many of them closed. Let's just pretend my ratio is the same. For some reason, 20% closed. Or excuse me, 20% fell out. 15 listings, 12 in escrow, 10 closed. The number's a little bit different. I don't know how many buyers, we're going to get to that in a minute. I worked with buyers. I convinced 10 of them to write a contract that got accepted. And again, for some reason, 2 of them fell out and I closed 8. So how many deals did I close last year? 18. Am I a buyer's agent or a listing agent?
Both.
I'm both.
You're a realtor.
I'm a balanced realtor. Equal opportunity agent. I'll work with anybody. And by the way, that's nice. Nothing wrong with that. That I would say that's a good model. Okay? Okay, so there's my average, there's my number of canceled. I guess my canceled sales are 4, right? I have 2 buy sides and 2 sell sides. Alright, so let's plug a number in here. This gets back to what we were talking about earlier. Average number of not hours worked, prospecting hours a week. How much prospecting am I going to do? Okay, someone help me out here. I closed 18 deals last year. How many hours? Now, could the answer to that really depend upon how long I've been in the business? Where did the business come from? If I'm William and I'm brand new, you have no past clients, you do have friends and family, we're going to talk about them in a little bit, but I'm brand new. Okay, all right, well let's use that as an example. Okay, let's pretend that's, what'd you say, 20 or 30?
35 hours.
35 hours per week prospecting. Okay, I like that. All right. Now, let's suppose I've been some.
How can you put a number on prospect?
I don't know.
Prospecting
We're gonna do
all
it.
the time.
All right, I like that too.
I go in the store,
Oh, by
I
the
go
way-
in line in the store, and I hear someone talking about houses.
Time
I'll
out.
grab it. I'll grab it.
Trick question. He just answered it.
Call it like
Wait a minute. Time out. Time out. Trick question that was just answered. What am I doing right now in this room?
Prospecting.
I'm training.
No, retain. Retain this plan.
And I gave you guys the answer. Most of you have never been in my class before, and I asked that question. I say, what am I doing? Well, you're a trainer today. You're the broker. This is not about training for me, guys. Who has not signed their license with this office? Anybody brand new in here? Okay, Manuel didn't show up here yet. Well, you're here. Your license is placed here.
Yeah, he's-
Your license is not with us right now. What's
She
your
doesn't have
name
her
again?
license.
I have a license, because I'm working on my license.
What's your name again?
Andrea,
Andrea. Give me an elbow because I have a little
I got a call.
cough. Okay. First of all, I screwed up because should I have known Andrea's name before we got here? It would have been a little bit less embarrassing for that public moment right there for me not to know that Andrea doesn't have her license yet. So right now, my relationship with Andrea is one of prospecting, correct? Right? You have not made a decision where you're here. You think you're being trained. This has nothing to do with training you. I am recruiting you. I am prospecting for a new agent. Just like when Steven's out passing out flyers this morning, he's not passing out flyers, he is prospecting for buyers and sellers. It has nothing to do with, passing out flyers. Maybe when he goes to the gym, which gets to Bob's point, maybe one of the reasons Steven goes to the gym is to get a workout. If he is not also prospecting, then his mind is not in the right place. Because everybody at that gym should have a Stephen Amaya card and know that he's in real estate, and that's how he makes his living. And if they don't know that, if he goes to the gym as a secret agent, by the way, how many secret agents do we have in the gym?
Okay.
If you walk in my gym, you'll see my postcard on the billboard. Seriously.
I would, again, I am not here to be delicate. 50% of the agents in this business, and probably 50% of the agents that work for my company right now, are secret agents. Nobody knows they're in the business. You don't have to go extreme and do what I did with my truck, which is hard to be a secret agent with the big wrap. You don't have to wear the Coldwell Banker Town and Country shirt or the T-shirt or whatever. But on occasion, there are opportunities all the time that we fall into by accident. Oh, by the way, you may not know it. There's my cell number. That's real estate. You should pass it on to your brother. And we walk away from that opportunity all the time. All the time. Oh, gee, I really don't. I really had a hard day at the office playing solitaire. I really don't feel like passing out my card. Yeah, look at that look on your face. I meant every word of that. What is Lance talking about? People are coming and playing to the office playing solitaire? Yes! That is your competition. What is your last name?
Call it that.
Andrea, what's your last name?
Williams.
Williams. Who has a contact management system? Everybody else. Number one goal. You're going to need more sheet. Number one, we're going to have several goals today. You need a CRM, contact relationship manager. If you do not have a CRM, you need to get one. You can do nothing else. Nothing else can be done until you have a CRM. Okay, I am prospecting right now. You better be in here or someone's getting fired. Andrea Williams? I got a couple Andrea Williams.
Phone numbers look familiar.
There she is.
What's your number, Andrea?
Right there.
This one?
Yes.
You live on Heacock Street, apartment 149.
Yes.
I've got your phone number. You are on my radar. You were on my radar twice. Ingrid has got you on. If you don't sign up on January 8th, you're going to get a phone call from Ingrid. And she's going to say, what's going on, girl? Can I help you get your real estate license? You actually have an appointment 7 days ago with Steve, which he didn't complete. I need to have a conversation with Steve. Because I don't know, did you keep that appointment?
Yes.
You did. Was that a good appointment or bad appointment?
It's good, a lot of information like that.
I have no idea. I'll have to find out. Let me see. Okay, this isn't embarrassing. I don't know whether that was a good appointment or a bad appointment because my sales manager didn't put a note in it. Now, I don't mean to embarrass anybody, including myself, because I should have known who's in my class. But you are on my radar, and you're even going to be more so on my radar because I'm going to call you. Oops. By the way, everything we do is all about efficiencies. Who are you? You are a follow-up on an agent prospect. You don't have your license yet, do you?
No.
Nope. I think I'm going to call you tomorrow.
Okay.
I'm going to see what's up.
Hold
I'm
him
going to
to
alarm
that.
myself.
Okay.
I'm going to schedule.
Much like the class.
And you know what else I'm going to do? What's a nice thing to do for somebody that you just met or you're trying to recruit?
Send them a card.
Thank
Send them a little thank you note. Is it nice when someone writes you a personal thank you note? Now I may be tainting it a little bit right now, because maybe this is taking away a little bit of the luster, but I want to send you a thank you letter. I just typed in SEN, send thank you letter, and I want to apologize on 12/12/2013. Don't hold typing against me. Apologize for not knowing her name in training.
You should have spelled check.
And I don't, this is all in term. I don't care. This is for me. This isn't for anybody else's consumption except me and my team. So I'm going to send you a little note. I'm going to alarm it. And you're going to get a note from me sometime in the next 5 days. And I guarantee you I'm not going to forget your name next time. All right? Now, what am I doing here? I am prospecting. I am, who already works here? I am attempting to retain you, whether you know that or not. It has nothing to do with training. I want you to come here, Javier, Anna, and say, I think this is a good place to work, and I'd rather work here than at Remax Masters. Or I'd rather work here than at Remax, whatever this guy's names across the streets are. I want to work at Ted's office, okay? This is a place I want to be because they have great training, okay? It's all about prospecting. Everything we do is prospecting, which gets to Bob's point. So when we get back to our little chart over, by the way, contact management, is there any way in hell, I see a lot of pieces of paper on, I can guarantee you, if I had one of these, like most of you in this room have, please call Andrea about the bump and training we had. Do that to, oh, and also send thank you note. Am I going to do that?
Probably not.
No, Eric isn't.
I'm not going to do that. And I bet most of you won't either. First of all, I'm going to have the first question you have to really be honest on, because if you can't answer the first question honestly, you won't answer the second question honestly. Who's actually gone out and knocked on doors or made cold calls in the last 30 days? Okay. Okay, it's only 3 of you. Okay, 3, 4 of you. Of those, be honest. Was there somebody that you talked to during that time that you forgot to call back or make a second contact with? Okay. Now, I think if you don't have a contact manager, if your method of prospecting is to go out with a pad and paper, which I did for years, and you're knocking on doors, hey, Lance Martin, I'm with Coldwell Banker Town and Country, I'm in the neighborhood, and see if anybody wants to buy or sell, you have to help you, here's my card, and blah, 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 and I go down and I do 75 of those, and I talk to 10 people, and 3 of them give me something. I'm not interested now, but my husband retires in 6 years, I'm going to sell. Where do you put that? 123 Main Street. Mrs. Johnson said when her husband retires 6 years from now, they're going to sell. I put that in gold mine, and what do? Oh, by the way, can I get your phone number? Can I get your email? Can I have your permission to put you on my newsletter? Do I have my permission to send you an email with home values in the neighborhood?
Mailing list.
Whatever. I'm going to put her on a mailing list for 6 years, and then I'm going to call her on year 5, or maybe once a year.
Once a year.
Whatever's in your plan. So anyway, you've got to get it in the system. Okay, so we're way off point. So let's get back to our plan. William said he's going to spend 35 hours a week prospecting. Bob made a great point. It could be every minute of my day is prospecting, but I'm talking hardcore prospecting. I'm talking dropping flyers, knocking doors, blocks of time. I've scheduled this to do the phone. I'm going to go to who went to the tour meeting this morning? What is that meeting? Prospecting.
Yeah.
What? Really? I thought I was going there to get some information, and I thought I was going there to maybe get some properties. That's prospecting. That's an hour and a half of prospecting. It's a different type of prospecting. It's prospecting for other realtors. I want to know who Eric Fisher is. I've never met him before. I'm going to introduce myself. Which, by the way, are there a lot of secret agents over there?
Yes. Oh, yeah.
They show up every day. They don't even, I mean, good God, man. Go over there and introduce yourself. Bob, I'm Lance. I don't think we've met before. I work at the Coldwell Banker office. Boy, you work at Prudential. It's a beautiful office. You like it? Everything's great. Cool. How is it? Office good, broker good, manager good, splits good. Shit, maybe I want to go work there. Okay? But and by the way, there's multiple types of prospecting. Part of it is I want to have a relationship with him. I want to know who he is. I want him to know who I am. I want to make a good impression. Hopefully I was dressed. A little casual. Damn it, I wore jeans again. It's a family of mine. I get a little too casual. Ideally, I'm suit and tie every day.
Well, you know who I am. I've sold some of your repos.
Have you?
Yeah.
Well, let's find out. 2 P's, right?
Yeah, see.
C-A-P-P and an S.
Oh, he's in there.
There's Bob. Bob, we've done
Adobe.
business on Lariat and Adobe at least. This could be embarrassing. My history with Bob, we have to scroll down. Let's find out how long I've been recruiting Bob. Gonna find out how long I've been recruiting Bob right now. By the way, I did not ask him to do this, and hopefully this doesn't backfire on me. Okay, it appears as though Bob came into my world on December 17th, 2009 at 9:32 p.m.
Is that we have?
You were asking me,
We have moved?
I made such a great impression on my grandma. When we got a kick out of that one.
Oh, God.
In case you haven't figured.
I remember getting that email. We've
It used to be on, Heatcop.
I think
Donnie is like a little bit.
And he got
I remember
Okay.
getting that.
that email went out to 36,000 people. And then I was so proud of it, and then the next day, smart ass over there. There's a typo, it's grammar. But at any rate, now, it's not necessarily that Bob and I didn't have some sort of contact prior to December 17th of 2009, because I think we've talked or known each other before that. But at least Bob made it into my contact management system at that point in time. The first time Bob reached out to me, and hopefully I'm not breaching some confidence, you sent me an email on May 21st, 2010 at 4:36 p.m. Good afternoon, Lance. I see you have a bank loan property at Wood Creek. What's going on? We're Lois Lauer, C21 Lois Lauer. You remember sending that? I don't. But
I don't think you gave me a price on that place.
I might not have.
still waiting for the
Did we
price.
reply?
I don't think you put it in the MLS.
3.5 years
Well,
later.
I replied back 3 days later. Hey, Robert, we do not have a price yet.
Oh,
Check back in a few days. Love you. Anyway, the exchange is irrelevant. The bottom line is, without even knowing it, my goal, now again, my goal might have been a little bit different 4 or 5 years ago. I'm an agent, I'm selling a house, he wants to buy it, I want to be professional, I want to have a decent exchange. But one of my prospecting goals with Bob and everybody out there is what? Would you come work in my office? And hopefully, during that window of time, I make a better impression than not. And apparently, up to this point, he said, all right, I'm going to give these guys a try.
yeah,
So I have been
You were a
successful.
lot better than, what's his name over there?
Damn straight I am.
What was that guy's name, who got in trouble?
We're on the
Michael?
tape, we're on the tape, be careful.
Lance, how many people do you have in your contact management system?
We have, you are right, whoever that guy is, I'm way better than him.
He's got 25
Um,
No, it's more than that.
Yeah.
68,249 people.
Why isn't it 100,000?
It's 50, well, check back with me in a couple years, it will be. Okay, but anyway, the point being is, all of this is prospecting. You guys have to have the same approach to this. Everything we have to do is prospecting, although it may not be prospecting today. One of you in this office today, I guarantee, somebody in this room today, at some point in the next 5, 10, 15 years is going to open your own brokerage house. And God bless you. You're going to leave me, you're going to go do your own thing. And I'm not going to be mad at you for that. I mean, that's a goal. Maybe it's already in your goals. Maybe that's part of your business plan. By 2025, I want to own my own office. Well, guess what? If you do a good job here, and in the next 10 years, not only may you recruit all the agents that are currently working for me, I may come work for you. If you do a good job, and you make a good impression. And you follow up, and all the rest of that sort of stuff. Okay, so we got prospecting hours, a whole bunch of stuff. How many hours, so since you answered the question, William, you're working 35 hours a week prospecting, how many hours a week, by the way, this is important, how many hours a week are you going to work? Total, or actual physical work?
50 hours.
Okay. Then you want to make 100 grand? Keep in mind that we're still working on that 100 grand. So he's going to work 50 hours a week and he's going to prospect basically 70% of his time. Is that a good ratio for somebody who has no business? Probably. Although in the beginning, since you have no business, so for the first several weeks, if not several months, how many hours a week are you going to be prospecting? 50.
Yeah.
You got nothing else to do. Right? Right?
I mean, if you're really breaking it down to, like, even being here in this meeting is prospecting.
It is.
Like,
And now again,
you know.
you're kind of being trained, but if you're thinking properly, you're scanning the horizon. Who in this room do you want to team up with? Who in this room, maybe it's me, but who else in this room can help you make 100 grand? Who's too busy to work with their buyers? Who gets listing but doesn't like to hold open houses? Who can I make a good impression with? Right? To help me get my goal. So you're prospecting. Griselda kind of sort of did that. I don't even know whether she did that. When Griselda first kind of introduced herself to me, she came into training class, in the very first class or two. She's kind of like, I'd like to kind of see if I can't attach myself to somebody around here so I can start making a few bucks. I don't know if you felt that you were prospecting or not, but whether you realize it or not, you weren't here just to be trained. You were here to try to reach your goal of making some money, and you said, I need to attach myself to somebody's cart, and you did. And I think you've made $1 or $2. You still nodding up and down? All right. Okay, so we're going to work 50 hours a week, okay? Okay, source of our context. I like it. By the way, is any of this ground shaking material, right? Ground shaking stuff. All right, where's our business coming from? I'm going to use one of Chris's examples, builders. Where are we getting our business? Builders, past clients,
Sphere of influence.
sphere of influence.
Softball team.
Okay. Softball team. Yeah, that's kind of sphere of influence. I'll just kind of add to the sphere of influence is also friends and family.
Advertising.
Advertising. Ooh, advertising.
Truck wraps.
Advertising. Okay, advertising's a big one. Let's just add 2 or 3 things to that. What kind of advertising? Press enterprise, homes and land, internet, online.
This
Yes.
is stupid. Bus station.
Bus stop?
Yeah, bus stop.
Okay. He wants to do the bus stop.
Urinal bits.
Remember those people did that? I did that.
Urinal bits?
I had a bus stop. You
I
know,
was gonna get one of those magnet things put on my car.
that's good.
Yeah.
Okay, so we got bus stop, we got internet, we got print, whatever.
Shopping cart.
Whatever. Okay, we plug it in there. All of that's important though, guys. And every one of you guys, you need to go back, you need to fill out your stuff, and you need to decide, if you're going to do advertising, you need to say what? And then of course, how much? Door hangers, radio. A lot of people are doing radio now.
Isn't that on like the further slide?
It
It's all
might
about
be.
advertising and everything?
It might be. Okay, which is again, that source of your business though. So this is actually where our last 10 clients are. So we're missing some. We've got builders, past clients, sphere of influence, friends and family, the softball team, advertising, strangers,
Well,
the
you-
supermarket line,
Yeah.
strangers. I like that.
Business.
No, seriously. But I'm being serious. We're gonna have some fun, but I'm being serious. Let's,
Well, you-
okay, delete that out. You need to forget the rule your mom and dad taught you about not talking to strangers. We are not secret agents. So let's play with this one a little bit. Let's suppose that you feel that if you made a commitment that every day, twice a day, I'm going to hand out a business card to a complete stranger. Who bought a cup of coffee or has been in who stood in line at a store today? Drive-through, gas station. If you just made a commitment, part of my business plan is every day I promise I'm going to hand out at least 2 cards to somebody I don't know. Every time I get gas, you're going to be that guy. Going to come around and say, oh hey, by the way, Cole Banker, down in the country, I sell real estate in town.
Oh, you're the broker owner?
Yeah. Call me. Even if it was just that subtle. Now, God forbid I actually engaged him. Okay? But if it was just literally, oh, I'm in line at 7-Eleven. Okay. Here's, that's fine. Throw it away. Impact marketing. Boom. Impact, trash can. Impact, trash can. Impact, oh, trash can, trash can. Oh, cool. Yeah, I saw the guy's truck. Oh, the guy's office. The guy, oh, I saw the sign. Oh, Lance, I think that's the crazy guy who gave me the card at the gas station the other day.
Chinese water torch.
Chinese water torture. That's what all this is all about. It's prospecting. You're not going to hit 100%. 99.9% of the stuff's going to end up in the trailer. Just wasting your money, maybe throw my card all over the place. And they're going to do it right in front of you. So again, strangers. That's a great one. I like that. Who does that? Okay. I've never done this. I think it's great. I'm gonna do it. Okay. I happen to unfortunately have a bad caffeine habit, which means I happen to spend far too long in fast food lines. You know, hey, give me a quick Diet Dr. Pepper, right? If you guys have heard this before, I think this is fantastic. Normally, when you're in line with getting something, there's somebody behind you, right? So you tell the girl at the line, says, hey, whatever they got, I'm paying for it. Hand them my card and say, it's courtesy of Lance, Coldwell Banker Town and Country. Have a great day. Okay, now you might want to make sure there's not 15 people in the car behind you. Maybe you listen. What do they always
Where you going for lunch,
They
Mama?
just
Stand behind.
Yeah, I just heard they just ordered a coffee. That's perfect. So you pay for their food, you give the girl the card, and they roll up and say, hey, this nut just bought your breakfast this morning.
I like that.
You do that once a
Like
day,
that, too.
or you do it once a week. You have a budget for that. That's part of your advertising budget. That's your fast food line budget. I'm going to spend $30 a month doing that, so you're going to do it once a week. And you're going to pass out a card. And maybe you have a cool little flyer that's made up. Okay? Where's Anna? I've got some business cards that I had Ingrid just make me up. This, again, not new. They're business cards, they're not this card. Anybody seen the card, or has any of you ever been handed the card that says, you've made an impression on me today. If you've thought about a career in real estate, please contact me. Lance Martin, broker on Coldwell Banker Town and Country. Anybody ever seen that? How cool is that?
That's
You have the same type of card. Maybe it's a little bit of a different card. A couple of you in this office are thinking about building a team. Maybe you have a different card. It's not a Lance Martin business card. It's a, William, you've made an impression on me. If you're thinking about joining Team Leaper, I consider you to join my team. Please consider joining the Leaper group. That's not necessarily the same type of card that you're going to hand out to your buyers or sellers. That's the type of card you're going to hand out to potential agent prospects. And maybe you're not going to hire them. Maybe it's just like, hey, you've made an impression on me. I'd like you to be part of my referral team. Give me a call if you're interested in referrals. I don't know. Can you maybe put $1 or $2 on your bottom line just by ordering a box of 1,000 cards for $30 and passing those out at the tour meeting? And are you going to give them to everybody at the tour meeting? No. Right? Okay, so we've got a few places for task clients. Objectives. Okay, now we're talking about what we want to make this year. We've kind of already covered this. This is going to go a little bit faster. I want to make 100 grand. You still going to work 50 hours? That's what you worked last year. You going to work 50 hours this year? A week, or is that not enough, or is that too many?
I think that's,
You're happy with that?
I'm happy with that.
Who this year has made a decision that next year they're actually going to work a little bit less? And there's nothing wrong with that. I made that call in 2009. I said in 2009 there's no flipping way I can work at the pace that we were working at in 2008. It would literally have killed me. And I actually adjusted my income goal down for 2009. It was too much. I was not having fun. We were working, and God, we were working literally 18-hour days, 7 days a week to close those 380 deals that we did that year. So at any rate, but this is the deal. If you say you're going to work 50 hours a week, who has a coach? The rest of you, who's your coach? Steve, me. Who's really your coach?
Yourself.
Yourself. It's yourself. Who's thinking about leaving this office and going somewhere else?
Just kidding. I'm just kidding.
Somebody in here is thinking about leaving this office and going somewhere else. We're all thinking about leaving. I'm thinking about leaving this office and going somewhere else. Okay? All right. Mexico. That's right. People make those changes for a variety of reasons. It's better across the street, grass is greener, better advertising, office smells better, guys are cuter, girls are prettier, whatever it happens to be, grass is greener. Bullshit.
Okay.
Bullshit. I don't care where you go. Leave. Everybody leave. Go wherever you want to go. The only person that's going to make a difference is that person in the mirror you look at every single day. I will not make you $100 grand. There is nothing I can do to make you guys make $100 grand. And to be honest with you, there is nothing I can do to prevent you from making $100 grand. You've got an office, air conditioner works, occasionally carpets are clean and the toilet's flush. For members of the MLS, the electricity's on. It's all about you, baby. We can wrap offices, we can order door hangers, we can hire a pretty receptionist. It doesn't, none of it matters. It's all about you. So, getting back to that, you told me you're working 50 hours a week. I'm going to go back to gold mine for a minute. I'm not going to turn this into a gold mine class, but if you don't have, whoever does not have a contact management system, who at least has a calendar that they keep? Raise your hand. Okay, the rest of you that don't have a calendar that you keep, it's part of number one. Who knows what they're doing tomorrow? I know what he's doing tomorrow. I know what Steven's schedule is tomorrow, and I don't even have to look at it. Because he's told me enough, and I've also heard that he's performing it enough, and I've seen the fruits of the labor. If you're brand new, a couple of you are brand new, if you don't know what you're doing tomorrow morning, or Saturday, or Sunday, or Monday, or Tuesday afternoon at 4 o'clock, then you do not have a plan and you will fail. And there is no way in the world that you're going to make $100 grand. Especially if you don't know. Now, I'm not saying you have to know what you're doing on your off time. I have made a conscious decision. I am not working on Sundays for whatever reason. Okay, well, that doesn't necessarily mean I need to know what I'm doing this Sunday. I don't know what I'm doing. I'm just going to see how it goes. But if I have made a conscious, who works at least one day a weekend per month? Okay, who knows what day that is? Okay, is it Saturday? Okay, what are you doing? Debbie, what are you doing on that Saturday?
Prospecting.
Doing what? Not good enough.
Open house.
Open
Door
house.
hangers. Passing out flyers.
Okay, just stop right there. I'm going to do on December 28th an open house from 10 to 4 on 123 Main Street. That's a commitment, that's on your calendar. You can't just say, now if you say December 20th, that's a couple, 3 weeks, now granted, maybe that, by the way, is there anything wrong with holding an open house the weekend between Christmas and New Year's?
No.
It might be a fantastic time to do it. Who's in town? Friends and family, they're over there at mom's house, they're visiting. Who's that idiot holding an open house this weekend? Nobody else is holding an open house. I'm pretty full eating pie all the last few days. Why don't we walk across the street and see what the Leaper group's all about? Okay? Hey, we're just visiting mom from New Jersey. We love it. And by the way, she's getting kind of old. We got to get closer. We can go down the whole thing. But if you don't have, by the way, I'm on vacation on that day. Let's go. This is my calendar. What am I doing Monday? Okay. On my Monday, I'm going to the gym and I'm going to the Redland sales meeting. After that, I don't know what I'm doing. That's trouble for me. That's not good. I should be somewhere. What am I doing on Tuesday? Next Tuesday, I'm supposed to go to the gym. I got the Covina sales meeting, but I got a conflict because I'm meeting with my IT guy, my personal, my property management team, and I got to meet with Linda Logan, who is the lease lady over in Covina. And I also got to talk to him about the trees that are hanging over the thing because I got an email from one of my top agents that says the tree's blocking the sign. And I'm supposed to meet with my escrow team, and I'm supposed to meet with the guy from Coldwell Banker Mortgage, and I've got my sales manager meeting. Is that a well-planned day?
Wow.
It's not a well-planned day? I got some conflicts, I got that.
And you got an HOA meeting too, right?
Oh, and I got an HOA meeting at 5:30. So on Tuesday, I know what I'm doing. Now, Michael, you're partially right, I have some conflicts. Who determines what happens with, by the way, are you going to have conflicts? Of course you're going to have conflicts. let's pretend for a moment that this says prospecting. I'm dropping flyers on doors, because every Monday from 9 until noon, that's what I do. So when I say, what are you doing on Saturday, and you say prospecting, no. Prospecting / open house, prospecting / dropping flyers, prospecting / and that's what you're doing that day. Now what happens if what happens if from the Friday before I get an appointment? And someone says, well, the only time I can meet with you is Monday between 9 and noon. Do I not go on the appointment?
Okay.
No, you preempt your prospecting. Now maybe you've got to practice a little bit earlier in the morning. So you preempt, but you have to have a schedule. If you don't have a schedule, if you don't know where you're going, you are not in business. One of the reasons brand new agents, who's had a license less than 6 months? One of the reasons you guys possibly could fail in this business is because you don't know what to do next week.
No, I've got my month plan.
Then you're good. If you don't,
Every day.
it's discouraging. I don't know what to do. Steve didn't tell me what to do. I don't know where to go. Or he told me what to do and I don't like it. This dropping flyers? Is this what I got my real estate license for? Yeah.
I got two open houses this weekend.
All right. Well, anyway, we're going to get back to that in a little bit. Okay, so we got to have that on our schedule. So we've got. So if I'm working 50 hours a week, oh, by the way, on what days am I not working? I block them off. Saturday's personal time. Tuesday from 4 o'clock on, I've got a social thing with my church, and I'm done. I don't do no matter what. Okay, now that can be tough. You're brand new, you don't have any business, and somebody says, I want to do a listing appointment Tuesday at 5 o'clock. Okay, you got to make a decision. When you're brand new and you don't have any business, you make priorities, and most of the time the priority is to take the appointment and you blow off the other commitment. The older you get, you make those changes different. There's only so many times you can disappoint your wife or your husband or your kid, not show up at the game. Oh, shit, we missed another one. Dad promised. Sometimes the soccer game is more important than the appointment, so you make those calls. But anyway, you got to plan your day, so whatever you've got. Number of days, and what am I taking off? For those of you that say you're holding open house, and to be honest, say, my business plan says I hold 3 open houses per month. If that's part of your business plan, who has said they're going to hold an open house and not done it? Okay, and that's fine. So this is what you need to do. Let's go back to your calendar. Give you an example. I'm supposed to go to the gym. This today? Next Tuesday. Let's go to today. I'm supposed to go to the gym today. I haven't gone. I did not go. I'm supposed to go to the gym. I'm supposed to go water skiing or snow skiing. I'm supposed to walk my dog. And by December 31st, I'm supposed to weigh 190 pounds. I weigh 221 pounds. January of last year, how much did I weigh? About 221 pounds. I failed. I'm leaving this office and I'm going to work for Remax because they have a better program on giving me slam.
Serve salads for lunch.
Or you know what? Actually, my gym, Canyon Crest Athletic Club, sucks. Their weights are lighter than the weights over at LA Fitness. And you know what? Their sauna's better. And their steam room, the eucalyptus is always fresh.
They have more machines.
It ain't gonna matter, baby. It's all about, do I really want to weigh 190 pounds? Or would I rather do something else? Now, for me, I haven't done this yet. I'm going to give myself a second shot. This is today. Maybe I'll do that tonight. If I don't, let's take a look at yesterday. This is yesterday. Yesterday I was supposed to go to the gym at 6 o'clock. It's coming. Yesterday was a busy day. If it says I went to the gym, it's crossed off. And it says I went to... Did I go to the gym?
Nope. Yeah, you did.
No, I didn't.
It says you did down there.
No, that's the meeting I had last night. That's Lakeview Sunday.
Oh.
Every day on my calendar from 6 to 8 o'clock it says I go to the gym. So now it's business review plan for me. By the way, I'm setting my calendar for 2014, and I normally do that between Christmas to New Year's. Take a little time off, I go to the desert, sit in the RV, and I set my entire calendar for 2014 during that week. What I'm going to do business-wise, what I'm going to do professional, what I'm going to do personal, what am I going to go to the gym. So one of the things I need to sit back, and if I sit back and say, okay, next, what am I going to do different in 2014? By the way, take going to the gym, insert open house, insert door knocking, insert whatever form of prospecting. I said I was gonna go to the gym 7 days a week, which I know is unrealistic. So now this is what I gotta do. Well, how did I do? Well, let's take a look at the month. Let's go back to October. Every time I click on one of these and there's not a completed action there, that means I didn't go. How about September 28th? Did I go? Nope. How about the 15th? Ah, I went. Okay, so I clicked on 4 random days. On the 15th of August, according to this, I went to the gym. Let's see what I did. Because I normally put a little note. I skied.
Oh, he went
So
skiing?
Drew and I went skiing.
And the dog walked himself?
No, well, dog probably didn't get to walk that day.
Dog rode the boat.
Yeah, well, dog probably went skiing. How about the 6th of August? Didn't go. How about August 1st? Oh, on August 1st, I went. What did I do?
You probably go in the summer more since you ski more.
True, it helps. I skied. All right, so I need to go back and I need to take a look at, okay, don't BS yourself, Lance. You said you're going every day. How often do you really go? Well, in the summertime, I might get maybe 1 or 2 days a week if I'm lucky. In the wintertime, honest to God, if I said how many times have I worked out in the last 60 days, it's probably 3. Is that a problem with my commitment? If that commitment has something to do with me making more money, am I not going to make more money? Having said that, hopefully you don't mind me sharing this. Just went to lunch with Stephen before this meeting, and he says a big part of his success this year financially is because he goes to the gym every day at 5. So maybe if I started going to the gym every day at 6, I might actually make more money. Get me out of bed, clear my head a little bit, get me motivated, I'm up and ready to go a little bit earlier. So, but that's part of the business planning process that we have to go through when we schedule this. And again, you insert whatever item you want. Saturday open houses. Most of you have heard this story before if you've sat in my classes before. When I first got into the business, I was 20 years old. I looked a little bit like William, only a lot skinnier and a lot younger looking. And I told my broker basically was my coach. And we did these sessions. And he said, what are we going to do? You set your classes and or set your schedule, so on and so forth. And one of the things, I'm going to hold an open house. Hold open house. So he's saying, hey, it's third. Which, by the way, totally different class. We don't prepare for our open houses the day of the open house. I mean, you know, it's a process, okay? However, she's like, I'm holding an open house Sunday. Yada, yada, okay, great, cool. Guess who calls me Sunday, 1 o'clock?
There's no key.
I answer my cell phone. Because they were big back then. Okay. And I don't think we did no caller ID, right? We didn't have caller ID back then.
No.
Okay, just a phone. It said answer me or whatever the hell it said. Call. Yeah, it said call. Okay. Hey Lance, it's Gene. What are you doing?
Flat tire.
No, I'd never lie to this guy.
Watching football.
Getting ready to watch the game.
Watching football. My buddy was over. Julie was there. I think Skip was there. On the couch. We lived in a garage. Literally lived in a garage half the size of this room. Married. Good Lord.
2 little kids.
20 years old.
Only 20
Got a
kids were
panic
there.
attack. Good Lord. So at any rate, we're watching the game. He didn't even have to say anything. I could feel the disapproval coming through the telephone with silence. Lance, you said that you were going to hold an open house today. And you said you have an income goal. And you promised that you were going to do these things. Click. Shit. Go in, I get my 1 white shirt and my 1 black skinny tie. See ya! I gotta go to the open house. And I did. And guess what? I hated it. It was not a productive open house. I was in a bad mood. I was pissed off. When I left that, I worked for that guy for a year. When I left his office, honest to God, I hated that son of a bitch. I hated him. But to this day, I thank him. Matter of fact, I lost contact with him for about 20 years. I reconnected with him about 4 or 5 years ago, and every time I see him, I thank him. I would not be in this business today if it wasn't for him. And that window of time I worked for him, I was afraid of him. I didn't like him. Frankly, I didn't really think he was a good human being, but he held you accountable. Only to what you said you were going to do, though. If I had told him I wasn't going to hold an open house that weekend, and I was going to watch the football game because I had made a commitment to my wife and my buddy, he would have said okay. Now we might have said, well, okay, well, you said you were going to do that, so are you going to do one? You're going to do two next weekend, right? Because you're not going to do this one. And I would have said, okay. He would have been fine with that. But I told him, it was on my commitment. It was on. That's what coaching really is all about. You guys want to be coached? You want to coach? And there's a few of you in this room that are spending money on coaches. All coaches are doing is telling you to do what the hell you said you promised you were going to do. But you know what? For most of us, that's the best money you're ever going to spend. Because you know what I need? If I really want to get to 190 pounds, I need to go to the gym, I need to hire a personal trainer, I need to spend $500 a month. And when I miss that appointment, I need Sally to call me and say, what the hell? You're just going to give me $30 a day for not showing up? Is that your plan? You dumbass? And they're going to make me feel bad, and I'm going to go. And I'm probably not going to like her, but you know what? After a month or two, yeah, baby, I need a coach when it comes to that. So, all right, so here we are. So we got our days of the week. What percent of our money are we spending on personal promotion? You said you were going to do some money on advertising. You have this stupid idea of spending money on a bus stop. I've done it. And it might not be bad money spent. Internet advertising promotion. So the question is not how much money you're spending. The question is what percentage you're going to spend. What percentage of this are you going to spend on that? 10%. Okay. We're all over the board here, so let's just make a note here. 10% goes to personal promotion. Okay? Whatever that may be. Okay? Maybe it's car wrap, maybe it's a bus stop, maybe it's whatever you're going to do. Now you've got to budget that out. Who has some sort of an accounting program to run your business? 3 out of the 20. Get QuickBooks. It's free. Use Microsoft Money. It's free. Most of them, QuickBooks isn't free, but a lot of these programs are very inexpensive. Some of them are free. I think, isn't the one that comes on Microsoft, isn't Money free?
I
I think Money's free.
Yeah, Microsoft Money free.
Microsoft Money's free. It's a great program. It's certainly better than what most of you have right now. You have to have an accounting program that says this is how much money I make and put a budget together. It'll take you an hour. That's what I'm going to make. I'm going to spend, again, it sounds silly, but I'm going to spend $30 a month on my my fast food line thing.
Fast food gimmick.
Okay, my fast food gimmick. Yeah. Okay. I'm going to spend $500 a year on a pumpkin patch. I'm going to spend $1,000 a year buying watermelons for Memorial Day. How much money did you spend on flags?
Like $400.
I'm going to spend $400 for 4th of July flags. These are the type of things that you have to plan. Let's plan our year a little bit. We've got, what's the first kind of major thing that comes up in the year?
New Year's.
Okay, yeah, okay. We want to do we're going to do a New Year's, Happy New Year email blast. What does it cost? If you have a CRM, it doesn't cost a thing. So we're going to do our Happy New Year email blast, which, by the way, is wonderful. Everybody in this room will get an email from me. Again, we've got 68,000 people in the database. Not all of them have...
You got a window open.
Oh, thank you. It's hard to see in here. Okay, we got 60-some odd thousand. Let's go back to 100. Is this a good email for you?
Yes.
What does that say?
Deneen, Will.
DenaneWill@AOL.com. You're going to get an email from me in the next 3 weeks, and it's basically going to say Happy New Year. Okay? You and about 35,000 emails are valid out of the 68 people. Not everybody has an email. That does two things. Number one, it says hi. Number two, it also says, what do I get back when I send those? Some of them say, Happy New Year to you too. Thinking about you. Oh, I have not heard from Shirley in 5 years, and she said, thinking about you. Now what? I have an opportunity to send something a little more personal. Well, I've been thinking about you too. That's why I wished you Happy New Year. The only one I sent a special email to. But I also get a lot of bounce backs. I get some from Shirley. Shirley's email is no longer valid. Shit. So I need to clean up my database. So we're going to say, okay, so we got New Year's. What comes after New Year's?
Valentine's
Got a Valentine's. Do you want to do something special for Valentine's?
President's Day.
Now wait a minute, let's deal with Valentine's. Do you want to do something with your advertising dollars for Valentine's Day? Let's pick 4. Now, what comes after that?
Easter.
Easter. Do we want to do something with our advertising dollars for Easter?
St. Patrick's Day would be good.
Memorial
Pick one.
Day.
It doesn't matter. Memorial. Let me tell you. Okay, participation's failing. I'm going to take over. Memorial Day. I love passing out watermelons in my farm. I have a farm of 500 people. You go down to the farms down in Parrish. You can buy 500 watermelons for $1 a piece. Little seedless watermelons. You slap a sticker on it. Happy Memorial Day from Lance Martin, Coldwell Banker Town and Country. You leave it on their porch. They dig it. Cost you $500 and a day's worth of shoe leather. Passing them out. 4th of July, flags. Little flag popped in the lawn. Happy 4th of July from Lance Martin, Coldwell Banker Town and Country. Have a safe holiday. Right? Pumpkins on Halloween. You know, same thing. Pass that stuff out. You put a budget together, you figure out how much you can spend, and you do it. Whatever it may be. Okay? Alright, so going back to utilize contact management. We talked about that. If you don't have a CRM, you're out of your mind.
There's a crazy man at the door.
That
Michael?
famous agent you were talking about.
Michael! Okay, are you going to get a CRM? If you don't have a CRM, you got to get one. Do you use SkySlope? Do you like SkySlope? Do you hate SkySlope? Do you need an assistant? Should someone else be using SkySlope for you? Should we use a transaction coordinator? What are you going to do? This is kind of funny because this is an old, this business model template is a couple years old, at least, probably 4 or 5 years. And at the time, the goal was respond to emails within 1 hour whenever possible. That's too late. But you make a commitment. You make a commitment to yourself. I will return phone calls within an hour, certainly within the same business day. That gets harder, the busier you get. Trust me, I fall into that category. I will return emails within, again, the busier you get, the harder that gets. But you have to make that commitment, especially who's spending money on Zillow, Trulia, all that online stuff. If you're going to spend money for that online marketing, but you're not prepared, number one, to capture the lead that says, hey, I'm interested, or call them back and reply back within minutes, why are you spending the money to get it? Those leads have to be replied back to immediately. That's why we used to have such coronaries about Lead Router. We got all these leads coming in. You guys have heard the story 1,000 times. The lead comes in, it ends up in somebody's plate, and you don't call them. And you accept the lead. Oh, of course. Oh, Lance, we called every single one. Bull pucky. Because they would call back 3 hours later. 3 days later. The call scrubbers would call at night. Mr. Jones, we saw that you called in earlier today on 123 Main Street and your lead was assigned to Mr. Amaya. Just want to make sure that he's called you. No. You called this morning. It's 6 o'clock at night. He hasn't called you yet? No. Matter of fact, he didn't call me back, so you said he was going to call me back in 15 minutes. He didn't call me. I called somebody else. Guys, that was happening 35-40% of the time. Not 5% of the time, not 2% of the time, 30 to 40% of the time, people, not Steven, of course, we always call him, but when people wouldn't get called back. It's craziness. So you got to make those sort of commitments. Who does not have a laptop? Who does not have an iPad? If you don't have some sort of, computing device that's mobile, who does not have a smartphone? Okay, get one.
I know.
You have to. This is not an option.
Yeah, you sign up and they give them to you.
I've
This
just
is
been
not an option.
hemorrhaging money. I gotta.
I understand that. I get it. Believe me. I know about hemorrhaging money. Been there, done that. We're in the real estate business. That's part of the deal we make when you get into this business. Money at times just flows. If you don't take advantage of, to be honest with you, let me give you a part of my business plan for next year. If the agents that are working in our office are not going to embrace the minimal technology that's available to our customer, I'm going to fire them. Oops, who's getting fired in this room? If you're out, guys, there is so much information available to our client that they never had access to, even a few years ago. If you don't have access at least to the same information that they have, you will never survive in this business. Because they're calling you right now, they're asking you questions that they already know the answer to. And they're quizzing you. Hey Matt, I'm calling about that property on Main Street, looking for an agent to help me out. Could you give me a little information on it? They have all the information right in front of you. Oh, what's the school district on that? Oh, really? How many bedrooms is it? It says here it's 3, you said 4. How many square feet is it? They already have it. They know all about it. Now, not every client does that, but what happens when they catch you?
It says here that it's.
Right. You're done. You lie to them, you're done. You make it up, you're done. Okay? And then forget about that. What about more, what's market interest rates doing? Well, FHA loan limits. What's going on with FHA loan limits?
They're going down.
They're going from 500 to
353.
353? I thought it was 377.
Well, no, the purchase price with 3.5% is $368,325.
Okay, everybody got that? Who does not know, I don't have the numbers right. Who does not know what's going on with FHA loan limits right now? If you don't know, you better find out quickly,
So maximum.
because you don't want your customer to tell you, because you've lost them. I understand FHA loan limits are changing. Oh, no, I heard something about that. I'm pretty sure you can still go up to 500,000. The buyer's just like, who's representing me? Well, I want to do business with this guy. He's pretty sure I can still, you know. Who doesn't have a good lender? If you don't have a good lender, you find one. Okay? And you just don't go willy-nilly, oh, I'm just going to get you so on and so forth. They're going to bury you. Okay? Or a good broker, or a good manager, or a good office, or whatever it happens to be. Okay, so you've got to get that. And again, this is part of your goal setting. Can I make $100,000 without a computer and the internet access? No. And I mean your own computer and your own internet access. I don't mean coming into the office and using my computer and my slow internet. Guys, I've been doing this a long time. If I'm you, the last thing in the world I would ever want to do is depend on my broker's internet connection, my broker's printer, my broker's anything. I have my own computer. I have my own printer. I have my own Wi-Fi. I have my own broadband. This building could blow up. I'm doing business in my car at the property. Okay? If you want to make $100,000. Now, if you want to close 2 deals every other year, sure, you don't need any of that crap. You want to make $100,000, you want to close a deal a week, you better have your own stuff. Now, that doesn't mean you can't utilize what's at the office. But you better have who has a home office? You better have a home office. You better have a smartphone. You better respond to text messages within whatever it happens to be. How long has texting really been around? 5 years? Maybe? 6 years?
It got big when you couldn't talk on the phone.
Probably 10 years.
10 years? Okay, when texting first came out, I'm like, oh God, really? Blah, blah, blah. Text is the best thing in the world now. I love it. Still trying to figure Twitter out. I don't know what to do with that.
But you were slow in the text. I mean, me and you
I was
argue
slow in
all
the
time.
text.
Yeah, I'm sending a text message. What the hell?
I'm
is
telling
text
you.
message?
But you got to do what your client wants. And at some point, I don't know who it was probably, and when I say client, it was probably one of you. It was probably an agent or one of my buyers or sellers who sent me a text. I'm like, oh, well, shit, I guess I have to, all right, let me figure this out. That was before the smartphones. You remember you had to press the key like 4 times? Remember that? That's why I was bad. Damn, I wanted to do a capital X. All right. Okay, so we're going to get that. Again, some of this is old school. But again, this is important. Let's embarrass some people. I'm so good at that. Who wants to give away money? Let's give away money. Shall we?
Do mine.
You have one?
It's.
You don't even know what we're talking
I
about?
think you're going to profiles.
Yeah, let's see what happens here. Now, I'm taking a risk. I'm going to our website. I'm sure we can be critical about the office website.
And you can compare mine.
There's certainly more than one thing to be critical about. Since we're in Moringa Valley, let's pick on Moringa Valley. We're on our website. Oops, I want to find an agent. I want to find an agent. When you click on Find an Agent on our site, it takes you here and it says, who do you want to find? I want to find somebody that works in Moval.
There goes the office wall.
This redirects us to coldwellbanker.com. George is not in the room. God bless George. George's #1 hit George's number one hit for one reason and one reason only. George has a video,
Rotates.
and it rotates. So
Yes,
this
it
is
does.
only showing us, which is also ironic, because we have about 78 agents that work in this office. Only 61 of them are in the system with profile pages.
I'm on page 6.
It's not always
Maybe not.
rotates.
Let's show 50. So, everybody should know, okay, I just refreshed it, I'm gonna look at 50. I'm gonna go down and let's see how far we have to go before watch video disappears. Shall we? We got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Six. There are 6 agents. 6 agents from here up have a video on the profile page. Those 6 agents will always be in the top 6 rotation. I have told you guys, and told you guys, and told you guys, and told you guys. I know, and for those of you that are on the 6, Mr. Leeper of the Leeper group is saying, stop saying it. Where are you? Just back. Oh, I'm going the wrong way. Where'd you go? There you are. Okay, Chris happened to be number 2 on this particular search. If I refresh the page, he has a 1 in 6 chance of being on the top. He's always going to be in the top 6. I don't know what to tell you. I don't know what to tell you. Okay, now let's make it even worse. How far do we have to go? Okay. Carl. I don't even know why Carl doesn't work in the Rio Valley office. He should be in Covina, actually. No picture. Is that a problem? Maybe, maybe not. Do we get leads off of this?
No.
Yes. Yes.
No.
Yes.
Yes. We get leads off of this. Maybe Steven says no. Well, maybe Steven needs to change his picture. Maybe this guy leaning up against the brick wall isn't. He's a gangster. That's just it. But we're half joking. Can we be honest? We're in the tree of trust, right? We're in the tree of trust. Maybe you don't get pictures because they look at, who's this cocky son of a bitch leaning up against a brick wall? Or maybe they're looking for a female. Or maybe they're looking for a blonde. Or maybe they're
no,
looking,
so people won't do it.
or maybe they're looking for, oh, that's what you're saying no? Gotcha. A little slow on the pick-me-up. No leads here. Okay, guys, if you had a $100,000 goal, okay, and you just got one deal every other year because you took a picture, this takes 5 minutes to set up. Okay? Oh, I'm not good at video. I don't know what to tell you, man.
My video sucks, but
It doesn't matter. There's a bunch of crappy videos in here. So if we look at this, there's 10% of our agents that have videos and they're on the top. Some of our agents don't even have pictures. So when you go back here, and again, we're looking for one deal. So when we go to our sources, this is internet stuff. One of the internet stuff is going to be something as, by the way, you're paying for this. Let me rephrase that. I'm paying for this. This is free.
we pay percent.
Okay? This is free. You do a video, you upload a picture, you go from there. Otherwise, and by the way, and I'm only half joking about the pictures. Let's find a bad picture, shall we?
There's one.
Where?
Yeah, there's
Okay,
one.
let's pick up Mike. Should Mike? Now again, what's Mike's model? Who does he want to work with? So on and so forth. Mike's kind of, hey, I'm the casual guy. I got the Hawaiian shirt on, the t-shirt. I'm the casual guy. I want to attract the casual clients. Will certain people be gravitated to that? Will certain people be turned off to that? Oh, he's not professional enough. I need a guy with a tie. Oh, this guy looks more like it. He's got a little tie. Oh, I like this guy.
Robert Bushman's got a jacket.
No, look at this. This guy, that looks, hey, I'm a country guy. I'm selling farm. Is that what you're going for? Is that, but that, if that's what you were going, that's what that told me. I sell horse
That's the
property.
field behind my house.
I'm the ranch guy. Debbie tells me, Debbie, I'm the traditional agent. Just a regular business headshot, white background. Steven's he's the new guy. He's the guy, man. I'm the gangster up against the wall. So at any rate, so getting back to this, are we going to do our profile page? Are we going to have our own, who has their own website? Okay, do you have your own? Steven said earlier, I can keep using him as an example, we just had lunch here, fresh in my mind. He's passing out flyers. Before people call him, he says most of the people will go to his website first. They won't just call. Let's check them out. If you don't have a website, how are they going to check you out? Okay, put together a website. It doesn't have to be super duper fancy. Heck, how many, Mike, you had like 10 websites at some point in time, depending upon what city.
Yeah.
They were all nice. He didn't even do them. You send them out, they do it.
I use the one from the MLS.
Use the MLS one. Get your website. Okay, attend International Business Conference. This is the Coldwell Banker stuff. Who's going to the Coldwell Banker stuff? Who goes to the CAR stuff? Who goes to any sort of conventions and stuff? There's money to be made there. Those are not money-losing opportunities. Those are money-making opportunities. You go there to do what?
Prospect.
Prospect. Okay? You don't have to go to all of them, but you should go. Now again, you can't go and be a secret agent. You have to go and you have to be there. You have to be engaged. You have to pass out cards. Go to the bar. Do what you like. Who likes to go to the bar and have a drink? Go to the bar. Right. Go to the bar. You have a couple drinks. You sit down, you pass out some cards, you talk, oh, I'm from Palm Springs, I'm from here, blah, 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 blah. Many of you have heard this story before. I get asked all the time, wow, you can't believe you go to all those damn CAR meetings and it's a waste of time. And it just seems like you're gone for 3 or 4 days and you lose business. I don't know what to tell you guys. I've been going for 20 years. I don't go because it's bad for business. Right? I don't go because it's bad for business. I am doing what? I am prospecting. I am recruiting. I am sending messages. And I'm getting people. I go to the bar. I go up to the room. I change my shirt. I'm a little tired. I get a phone call. Hey, this is John from Marcus and Millichap in Palm Springs. I got somebody who wants your list your house in Moreno Valley. Like, John, dude, fantastic. I love it. Give me all the information. I'm out of town right now. Yeah, I know you're out of town. You just met with my broker down at the bar at the Hyatt in Sacramento. He gave me your number. True story. I could tell a dozen of those stories. Okay? But I'm not a wallflower. Not passing out cards. You're doing your thing. So go to the conferences. Get some training. You guys are training here. You need to get educated. Okay? And this isn't the only place for that. Go to the board stuff. There's some great classes that are put on by the board. A lot of free stuff. Go to the attorney forums. Get all the rest of that sort of stuff. All needs to go into your plan. All right. Now, this is our 2012. Let's come back to these numbers. All right. Let's just pretend for a moment we're going to use these numbers. We want to take 15 listings, right? We want to take 15 listings. Who's a listing agent? How many appointments do you have to go on to get an appointment, to get one listing? One. Stephen, one appointment equals one listing. That is the goal. Who's not quite that good? How many you got to go on?
2 or 3.
Let's say 3. Let's stick with that. Now, let's stop there for a minute. Right now, Chris, with his experience and listing presentation and background, he has to go on 2 or 3 appointments to get one person to sign. Stephen, 1 appointment, 1 listing. As great as that sounds, that's impossible.
I lost one. I was devastated.
Okay, all right, so he has to go on 1.1 appointment to get 1 listing. Okay, let's just say it's 3. For most of us in this room, it's going to be 2 or 3 or 4, maybe even 5. For those of you that are brand new, it could be 10. Oh, what? I have to go on 10 listings to get 1? Yes.
What are you
That's one of
doing with
those.
10 visits?
Sucking. Doing something wrong.
You do your homework, you go there, you show up, you got the list.
Is that what you did on your first one?
Yeah.
I was 20 years old on my first listing appointment. I talked for 3 hours. I don't even think I ever took a
Well,
contract.
you have to educate it.
Okay?
Because
then you have to also have-
you get all sorts of issues afterwards.
Okay, I did a great job, but well, Mike and I used to have this conversation all the time. We do a lot of training in these offices. One thing Mike used to constantly say is, stop training on the technical. Let's train on the sales, right? Let's teach somebody to sit back and say, you know what, Karen, we've been talking here for a couple, 3 hours, and we've gone through all the paperwork, and I prepared this listing agreement for you, and we've talked about price, and it sounds like about $350,000 is where you need to be, and we've talked about your net, and you need to get about $52,000 out. I think we can do that. All I need from you is an initial right here, and we get started.
I'm not sure yet.
Yeah, I understand, but we've really gone through this. Are you ready to go?
Yeah, I don't know, I need to think about it.
And what exactly do we need to think about?
You know, I just need some time to talk about with my husband
You know what, I
alone
get
at home.
You know, Karen, I've been doing
How
this a long
about if I give you
time.
a call and you come back?
We can do that, and I'll be happy to do that. I'll give you as much time as you need. And normally, my experience is when I get that sort of, by the way, it's fine to use the word objection, because that's what it is. What is she giving me? She's giving me an objection, and she's basically saying, I'm not ready. Karen, I've been doing this for, which is still more difficult when you're 20 years old. I can't say I've been doing this for a little while. So you might have to come up with something a little bit different. And it might be, you know what, I really haven't been doing this that long. And, you know, my broker kind of indicated to me when I've done a good job in presenting all this that there may be some objections and reasons why sellers might not want to sell. Could you please just do me a favor? I spent 2 hours with you. Can you really just tell me what exactly I need to, what more information do I need to get you before we can move forward?
Oh, it's not you, it's all me. I just need time.
Were you breaking up with him?
It's me? No, I get that. Okay, so let's recap here a little bit. And I'm not gonna go through this because this could take 10 minutes, but let's recap a little bit. Okay, so you need more time, and I got that. And I'm perfectly prepared to give you more time, but let's review a couple things.
Yeah.
You're okay with the price? You think 350 is where you need to be?
Yeah.
I'm not feeling that. Now my little body language in our role play right here is she's not okay with the price because you gave me one of these. So I'm gonna stop right now. You're not really be honest with me. It doesn't look like 350 is gonna do it for you. You need more than $52,000?
Probably, yeah.
Okay, so if I'm understanding you right, if we were able to get 375 and we were able to get your net, this is very dangerous by the way, but we were able to get your net up to $65,000, is that really the issue that you need to discuss
Well,
with
how
me?
can you guarantee that?
I can't. But if we could, would you be ready to go?
Probably.
Okay, I'll tell you what. Now again, very dangerous. Because if I don't think it's worth 375 and I don't think I can get her 62, I can't do this. Okay? But again, there is some sales involved with this business, guys. Now I may be jumping a little bit ahead of myself. I tell you what, I'm with you 100%.
God bless you.
Why don't you do this? Bless you. I tell you, why don't, just give me 60 days. Let's do this. Let's try it at 375. If I give you 375, that'll get you $62,000. If there's no other objections, let's just get this thing going. I really want to get this thing on the market before the holidays. Can we get going now?
All right.
All right, very nice. Okay, but you have to have some sales. So why do I go out on 10 appointments and not get one listing? Is because I don't ask for the order, I'm not prepared, like Bob said, which is most of you.
And there's only one decision maker at the table.
There's only one decision maker. I shouldn't have been on the appointment in the first place. This is a house that should never have been, I shouldn't even be there for whatever reason.
Yeah, you gotta have both parties.
You gotta have all of those factors. But the goal is to get this number as low as possible. If you can get it to 1 or 2, you're a rock star. Quite honestly, there's nothing wrong with 3 out of 1. I'll take that ratio all day long. So, if I'm going to do that, this is simple. We're playing the game. I'm a little off the chart here a little bit. But let's do this. Okay, so Stephen and Chris will be our guinea pigs. You get one listing for every appointment you go on. How many doors do you have to knock on? How many flyers do you have to pass out? How many calls do you have to make to get one appointment?
1,000.
1,000. I like that. Okay, now it's 1,000 something. 1,000 what? Flyers?
Flyers, text.
Flyers mailed, flyers dropped on doors,
Both. 500.
combination of something. So if I do 1,000 flyers, that will get me how many appointments?
3.
Okay, so it's not, so it's 333 flyers, which is really what I want, equals 1 appointment. Right? It doesn't matter what the number is. If it doesn't matter whether it's 1 or 1,000, that's what you want. So, very simple. Let's just make it 1,000. So I send 1,000 flyers, gets me 1 appointment, which means what? I need to get 3,000 flyers to get 3 appointments, which means 1 listing. How many listings do I need? I need 15. Someone help me out on the math here. I think that's 45,000. Right? 45,000 flyers will get me 45 appointments, will get me 15 listings. Right? How many flyers a week is that? No, it's not. 45,000 divided by 52 weeks is
800.
800 flyers a week. How many flyers a day is that? 200, 300, 200 flyers a day. Okay? So if you use this example, and you go, oh, come on, that's really, is this what we're doing here today? Yes. This is what we're doing here today. If these numbers are correct, and I have to pass out 45,000 flyers to get 45 appointments, to get 15 listings, to put 12 in escrow, to close 10, then I've got to do the math, and I work it backwards, and it's about, let's just say 200 flyers per day. How many flyers a day are you passing out? How long does it take?
6 hours per 100.
And that's doing it with old-fashioned shoe leather. Okay? So, if you do that, now again, but by the way, that's not 1 day a week. That's 5 days a week, 52 weeks a year, all year. You basically want to generate, whatever that is, an appointment a week. Right? And you're going to get the business. It's no more complicated than that. But then you take it from here and then you put it in your calendar. And you sit back and you go to your calendar and you put on your calendar. Every day between 8 and 10, I pass out flyers, 200 flyers a day. And then you put your appointments in and you go from there. Now again, maybe this isn't flyers. Maybe this is physical door knocking. Maybe you found if you actually knock on doors, you don't have to do anywhere close to 1,000. You're just wallpapering the neighborhood. You're wasting your time. It's not efficient. So then you tweak it up a little bit. And now you've discovered that just going in and knocking on doors isn't that efficient. So you use a more targeted marketing program. Who said they wanted to do short sales? You short sales, you go into foreclosure radar, you pull all the properties that have defaults, and now you go and you knock on only the notice of default properties. And you discover if you knock on 20 of those a day, that will turn into so many appointments, which will turn into so many listings, which will turn into so many whatever. So whatever you have on your calendar has to be outlined. Physically passing out flyers, 2 hours a day. Physically knocking on doors, 1 hour a day. Cold calling, yes, this is ugly, not fun stuff, guys. This business can be work, okay? I'm going to do some cold calling, X amount of hours a day. I'm going to join the Rotary. Okay? What do you mean the Rotary? Where does that fit in here? I don't know. You have to figure it out. You go to Rotary, you go to one meeting a week, you make contacts, and at some point you're going to figure out that going to one Rotary meeting per week for a year generates 6 listings from the Rotary buddies. So now you realize that going to Rotary every Tuesday at 8 o'clock is an important thing. Chamber of Commerce. Who went to the city council meeting night before last? Is there business to be had at the city council meeting? There is if you ask for it. If you are a regular fixture at the city council meetings and you're passing your cards and they know, oh, Bob's here again.
Did you go?
Huh?
Did you go?
No, should have.
You're supposed to.
Yeah, isn't that great? They recall them and they put them back, or at least they post them, which is good. I mean, it's good for the whole thing's a mess. But again, this is what you want to do. You want to be able to determine, does going to a Moreno Valley City Council meeting net me business? And if it does, should I continue to go monthly to that council meeting? Chamber of Commerce meeting? Whatever it may be. Moreno Valley Caravan. If you've gone to the Moreno Valley Caravan meeting every day or every week for 2 years and you see no value in it, then don't go. It's a waste of time. Nobody there does any business. Not only that, I find myself leaving that meeting depressed because the people are just, I'm just talking. Okay. Example.
Okay.
I find myself leaving there in a bad mood because those people I'm surrounding myself with. Then don't go. But whatever you're going to do has to go on your calendar. 100% of it has to go on your calendar. And then you have to hold yourself accountable to it. Okay, so we've got that figured out. But again, you have to do this with everything, and then you have to attach it to your sphere of influence. So we did our listings. Again, we've got the same numbers. Now if we had, over here we said we have 15 open listings, 12 of them run into escrow, 10 of them closed. Let's get back to our business model. How come 3 of them didn't sell? What did we do wrong?
Overpriced.
Overpriced. I closed Karen and I shouldn't have. I should have walked away from Karen. Now, maybe I should have done a little bit more in between, but I chose to take Karen's listing when I knew I couldn't sell it. And by the way, what happens when I take that listing? What have I just done? I have married myself to this lady and all of her baggage and all of her stuff for what? Maybe a year. Has anybody in this room had a 1-year-long relationship with a listing and ultimately never gotten paid? I have. I have. Maybe 6 months of that was in an escrow, which never should have been opened, by the way. Has anybody in here ever opened an escrow that you shouldn't have? I have. So let's get back to this. Number one, let's not take listings that we can't sell. And let's not open escrows that we can't close. Because just based upon this, 33% of the listings we've taken put no money in our pocket. Because we shouldn't have taken them or we should have never put them in escrow. And by the way, what happens to those 33% of those customers? Do they normally have a good impression of us or a bad impression of us?
Very good.
Bad. So we spent all of this time, we spent hours prospecting, valuable time, making no money whatsoever, and 33% of the people that we tried so hard to get, not only we've not only made any money out of them, we've actually possibly made enemies out of them.
I used to have an agent who I did dismiss from the company, he was actually a very good agent. He would take unsellable listings and I'm like, what are you doing? He's like, you know what, I don't care if I sell the listings or not, I only care if I get sign calls.
Okay?
So that was not good enough. A sign call is when someone calls off your sign,
Right.
buy it.
You have to push outside in the yard.
But if you don't take a listing in good faith, if you don't think you can sell the listing, don't take the listing.
Yep.
So,
Terrible. Bad news bears. Not good. So one of the goals when you're starting to figure out, gosh, if I spend all these flyers, all this time, and all these calls, and all these open houses, and by the way, we could do the same thing on open houses. We could say open houses are a great source of a lot of things. What are one of the things that open houses can give you?
buyers. And buyers.
And more listings.
Yeah.
Okay? So you sit back and you gotta figure this out. If I hold an open house Saturday and Sunday every weekend for 6 months, how many listings do you think I might get? And you might find that's a much better source than passing out flyers. Because, for example, if you think, oh my God, if Karen and William are saying, flyers, I did not sign up for this. I don't want to be passing out flyers every day. Okay, I'm with you. What's a better source than to get these 15 listings? Maybe it's holding open houses. I'll give you, again, we do a whole class on open houses. Let me give you a 2-minute summary of holding an open house. There is a difference between holding an open house, just showing up on a Sunday, putting some flags in, watching the football game, waiting for the people to leave, and then going home. That is not holding an open house. That is wasting time, okay? If I want to get listings out of my open house, are you ready for this? Follow me, because I'm going to go way off in left field. Every day, you all should be previewing property that comes on the market in the MLS. Every single day, you should be previewing property. I'm talking about holding an open house in mind. Every day you run a hot sheet. Let's just pretend for argument's sake that I want to focus just in this city. I run my hot sheet, what is it going to give me? New listings, new pendings, properties that have closed, properties that have expired, withdrawn, canceled, so on and so forth. Every single day, I call up the new listings. Ring, ring, hello, this is Lance Martin, Coldwell Banker Town and Country. I noticed that Bob just listed your property, brand new to the market. I happen to know Bob, he's a great agent over at Century 21 Lower Slough. I'm with Coldwell Banker Town and Country. I know Bob normally takes nice listings. I saw it just came out of the market. I'd like to come up and take a look at it. I want to preview your listing. Okay. I'm not going out there to steal his listing. I am doing what? He just took the listing. I'm previewing the new inventory. Who previews new inventory? 3 of you. Now, what is Bob's seller going to say to me? Can I come up this morning and see it? What is she-
Yes.
Yes!
I do.
Do you have
She's
a buyer?
excited. She might. Do you have a buyer? No. I'm just previewing properties today. Okay. She's probably going to be excited. Geez, man, Bob works miracles. Look at this, man. We just listed the thing last night at 8 o'clock, and this guy's already calling me in the morning. I come in. I do what's customary. Here's my card. Give that to Bob. He's going to wonder who came by. Thank you very much. It's a nice house. We'll see you later. I'm out.
And then you can walk the neighborhood and hand out new listing flyers.
Then, I'm in the neighborhood. I just saw Bob's new listing because Bob won't do this because he's too lazy. I see the neighbor across the street, hey, ma'am, I'm Lance Moore with Coldwell Banker Pioneer Real Estate. I know the sign's not even up yet, but actually a colleague of mine, Bob Capps with Century 21 Lois Lauer, just listed Mrs. Jones's house across the street. I just looked at it, it's beautiful. As a matter of fact, I think it's the same model as yours, except the reverse floor plan. He just listed it for $375. He hasn't even put a sign up, it just went into the MLS today. I know I'm talking fast. But, you know, do you know anybody who might be interested in moving in your neighborhood? Or by chance, have you thought about maybe selling your house? Did you realize? And by the way, I think Bob priced it right. I think it's worth $375. In this market, are you going to have people that are going to say, yeah, really? Last I heard they were like $250. You haven't been paying attention. We've been on a tear for the last 18 months. You know, now what does it have to do with holding an open house? I'm getting there. Okay? So I'm prospecting. I want to go out and see 2, 3, 4 properties a day, all the new inventory. Okay? I also maybe want to see the solds. Now if I do this every day for 6, 7 months, I'm looking at new properties. I'm also seeing what's going to happen. Let's take this chronologically. I see Bob's new listing today. 3 weeks, 4 months, 3 weeks, 3, 4, 5 weeks from now, I see it go pending. What am I doing? I'm making a mental connection. Bob's listing on main sale was $375. I looked at the house. I remember, matter of fact, I talked to the lady across the street, and I'm going to call her back. She's in gold mine. I'm going to list the property. I see it just went pending. I might call Bob. Hey, Bob, I see that when I show the property. I know him. By the way, we have a relationship. I see you're listing it for $375. Maybe he'll tell me that it sold for $390, or maybe he won't tell me anything. Then 30 days later, I see it sell. I see it sold. Sold for $360. Bam. I have more knowledge now than 99% of the other agents out because I know my market. I know what's listing. I know what's pending. I know what's selling, and I'm in there every single day. I do this day after day after day after day. And by the way, on your calendar, brand new agents and alike, one of the things you need to do on your calendar, for me, it should be the very first thing on your calendar, is preview new property. I want to preview inventory. I want to preview the market. I'm getting to open houses. I haven't quite gotten there yet. What else shows up on that hot sheet? Expires and cancels. We haven't had many expires and cancels, right?
Getting some now.
Are we getting some now?
Yep, because I've got some agents, and I'm trying to teach agents leverage everything you do. So when you're previewing property, have car signs, and when you're previewing property and you're talking to the owner,
Right.
odds are they're going to talk about where they're going to be moving to. Well, guess what?
Yep.
There's a referral opportunity.
Yep.
There's all kinds of opportunities.
Okay, there's all sorts of opportunities. One of the opportunities, and you have to be careful because I am not it may appear as though I am approaching an unethical line. I assure you I am not. When I first went out to his listing, my goal was to preview property and I want to see what's going on. I see that it went pending, I see that it's sold, I might even call Bob and congratulate him. Okay, say, hey, congratulations on your sale, so on and so forth. But let's pretend for a moment that it doesn't sell. Let's pretend for a moment that we see that listing go expired, or we see that listing go canceled or withdrawn. Let's just say expired so we don't have to muddy the water here, okay? I'm running the same hot sheet. I've already seen the house. I know the neighborhood. I see it when it expired. Bam! Mrs. Jones! Friendship over. Or actually, depending upon my relationship with him, I might actually call Bob first. Hey, Bob, it's Lance.
Or email.
Or I may, depending upon my relationship with him, I may say, hey Bob, I saw you listening on main sale, expired today. What's up? Would you just miss it? Because I'm working expired, man. And then you may tell me, oh, go get her, man. She's a pain in the ass. Well, at any rate, Mr. Jones, Lance Mark, Old Bank Town Country. I don't know if you remember me, but when your property was listed, blah, 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 I was one of the very first people up here to get my card, blah, blah, blah. It looks like it's expired. So let's just get there, okay? Now, I've still got my flyers. Now, what does this have to do with my open house? I've been doing this for months and months and months and months. I'm going to have an open house in that neighborhood, right? I have an open house in that neighborhood on Sunday. So on Monday and Tuesday and Wednesday and Thursday and Friday of that week, I'm in that neighborhood with my open house invitation flyers. And I'm passing them out. And the people are like, oh, I just saw Bob's new listing across the street, still active with Bob. By the way, I've got another listing around the neighborhood as well. I'm having an open house on Sunday. Would you please come up and would you like to visit my open house? So when you're out prospecting, passing out flyers, you got a little different twist on it, which is also kind of nice. One of the things that I think the newer agents will experience and older agents will agree to, there's nothing worse than going out into a neighborhood with nothing to say. Just, you know anybody wants to buy or sell. Jeez, man, it just sounds like, God, really?
No, you gotta do your homework, you gotta do the comps on the neighborhood, you gotta see what's.
Or better yet, hey, Mr. and Mrs. Jones, Lance Moore with Cold Baker Town and Country. I'm holding an open house around the block next Sunday from 1 to 4. I'm having a jumper and a pony and fresh pie. And to be honest with you, it's the same model as your house. It's listed for $375. I'd like you to come on by. Okay? I'm not asking them if they want to buy. I'm not asking them if they want to sell. I'm inviting them to my open house. They may actually have interest in that house because it's in their neighborhood and it's maybe even a model match. I love it when salespeople knock on my door. I love it when salespeople knock on my door. What do I want to do with them? I want to recruit them. Okay? But, yes.
I've been to 2 open houses. One had a wine tasting,
Ah,
the other one had champagne that you can help yourself to.
I love it. Okay?
Yeah, the wine tasting one, that was the only, I was planning on seeing several houses that day.
Right.
That was the first one I hit. And that was the last one I
Well,
hit.
well, let me ask you all a question. Just put your human being on who owns a house in a neighborhood. If a realtor knocked on your door, which doesn't happen very often anymore, but if they knocked on your door, and if they knew your name, if they really did their homework, if it was the farm or something like that, and they really knew, and they addressed you by name, hey, Mr. Fisher, Lance Martin calling. It could be a little creepy depending on how that works, but if they're known in the neighborhood, but maybe not even not. Hey, Mr. Fisher, Lance Martin, Cold Baker Town and Country. I'm having an open house around the block. Would you like to come? Here's the information on the house. Who might actually think about, shit, what the heck, I might swing by. It's a house in my neighborhood. I might want to check out. I've been personally invited, and we're doing something special. We're having a little wine tasting, or we're having it's a neighbor with a bunch of kids. We're having a pony come, and they're gonna take pictures with the kids. Come on over, and there'll be a photographer there for free, or a jump, whatever happens to. We don't do that. So, at any rate, getting back to our business plan, I know I'm a little all over the map here. When we get to this, and we talk about increasing how we're going to take listings, what works for us best? Maybe open house is better than passing out flyers. Maybe the Kiwanis Club is better than that. Maybe Board of Realtors is going to be helpful. Maybe with all technology. We haven't even, no, we've been here for 2 hours. And not one person said Facebook. Okay? I don't have Facebook anywhere on here. Who's going to get business from Facebook? Okay, already have 3, 4, 5 hands.
Me and Eric, we're showing our listings all the time on Facebook.
Okay, well again, so some of us who are thinking, man, this is a lot of really labor-intensive stuff and calling and knocking and flyering. I haven't heard anything. Lance held up an iPad and then didn't even mention anything else about it. How about email blasts? How about Facebook? How about Twitter? How about LinkedIn? How about Instagram? All the rest of that sort of stuff. So now you sit back and say, how many contacts can you make on a Facebook that ultimately can lead to a listing appointment? And then you leverage the hell out of that. I have like 1,200 friends on Facebook. I don't know any of them. I really don't. I know probably 60 of them. The rest of them are acquaintances. Maybe we met in passing. Most of them I don't even know who the hell they are. Okay? And I'm not leveraging that. I should. By the way, and I say this proudly, I have never asked anybody to be my friend. They all came to me. So that almost makes me feel like I've got carte blanche to spam the hell out of them. Right? Now maybe they're going to defriend me, but hey, you asked to be my friend, so maybe I need to tell you about every listing I just took. Right? If you don't want to hear about my listings, then don't be my friend anymore. I didn't want to be your friend anyway. Okay? So, but at any rate, maybe that fits into your plan. Maybe that gets you the buyers or the sellers. So anyway, we have to take this. So just to buzz through the rest of this real quick. So we got our listing sold. Okay, buyers sold open. How are we going to get our buyers? Maybe it's going to be open houses.
Sign calls.
Sign calls. How do you get sign calls if you don't have listings? Well, you might want to talk to your broker. Maybe there's a way for you to pick up abandoned sign calls in the office. Maybe there's Dwayne Sanders is a perfect example. When Dwayne had all of his Freddie Mac inventory, he didn't want any of those sign calls. He partnered up with a few people in the office and took advantage of that. Okay? That just did it, man, buddy. Right? How cool would that be? By the way, look around the office. Who do I want to partner up with? I don't have any business. who has a lot of listing, because one thing you're gonna notice, agents do tend to box themselves in to one or two categories, listing agent, buyer's agent. I've always considered myself a listing agent. I just don't like working with buyers. I find it too time consuming and they just don't fit in with my business model. If I'm a heavy listing agent, I'm getting calls that I probably, believe it or not, it might sound terrible, I probably don't want. But that doesn't mean I want to abandon them. I want some new, fresh agents in the office that they like working with buyers. And even better, that they approach me. They're hungry. Oh, wow, look at that. He just came up to me and said he wants to let me give him a shot. And then what do? I turn that into part of my referral business. If I get 15 listings, even though, again, getting back to what somebody said, what Steve said, he's taking the listings just to get the sign calls.
Oh,
If I have 15 listings, how many buyers just off that alone should I be able to generate? A bunch. That could be your sole. So where do I get my buyers? Advertising, open houses, knocking doors. I don't want to do any of that. I want to get all my buyers off my sign calls. Guarantee, listen to me, you put a sign in a yard, it's normally going to be in the yard for multiple months, right? If you have a good listing in a good location, that one sign in the yard can generate dozens of buyers. Not all of them are going to close, but if you have a listing in a sign in a yard for 3, 4, 5 months, let's just say 60 days, you should at least get 5, 10, if not 20, maybe more, decent sign calls out of that. You pare that down to maybe 10% of them are worth a damn, well, you get 2 buyers. Which gets back to this question, okay? So how many buyers do you have to work with before you write an offer? So let's just say 5 buyers equals 1 offer. And how many offers equals an open escrow? And how many open escrows equals a closed escrow? So if it takes me if I had to work with 5 buyers to write 1 offer, and now again, this is why a lot of people are out of this business today. How many offers do I have to write to get 1 accepted? Right?
well, if it's your own listing, that helps.
Okay. Well, let's forget about where we've been for the last couple of years. Let's fast forward to today. How many offers do we have to write today to get 1 accepted? It's not 50 like it was before. Anybody want to volunteer and answer?
Depends on your buyer. If it's an
Depends on the
investor.
buyer, depends on the type of offer, depends on the agent, depends on what you're writing. If you're writing crap, you could write 1,000 offers and never get them accepted, right? Let's assume we got a good buyer and we've written a good offer and we have a chance.
2 or 3.
2 or 3. Okay. So let's just say it's 2. So I've got to write 10 offers to get 1 accepted. Okay. And if I have to get, how many do I need to get? What did I say we need over here? 10. So I need to write 100 offers. I want to get 10 open escrows. 10 offers to get 1 open escrow. So I've got to write 100 offers a year. So I got to write 2 offers a week. How do I do that? Now some of those offers may be for the same client, right? Because you don't necessarily have to have new clients. So you have to have a goal. How do I write 2 offers per week? Because that's what it's going to take for me to get 10 open escrows, and that's what it's going to take for me to get 10 or 2 closed. The answer to writing that 2 offers a week may frankly just be take 15 listings. Right? That's one reason why I love listings. Listings spawn buyers whether you want them or not the other way around. Right? Whoever's working with buyers, who is guaranteed the day after or within a week from the time you started working with, there's my new buyer, within a week of me working with William, who can guarantee me I'm going to have a seller call me and say they want to list their house because of my relationship with William? Doesn't work that way. Within a week of me listing Bob's house, can we guarantee that somebody's going to call and say they're interested in buying that house? And they're also going to say, I don't want to work with you.
Because you're the listing agent, you
Right.
get my offer accepted.
That's why you guys, if you haven't figured that part of the equation out already, you have to control listing inventory, because listing inventory controls the other side of the equation. And even if you hate working with buyers, you're going to refer them out to this guy. And actually, cover your ears, William, you're probably not going to refer them out to this guy, because he's new, he doesn't know what the hell he's doing. Sorry.
Sorry.
Okay? Right? We like him. He's got to prove himself. And so, all right, I'll give you a couple, but I tell you what, I want you to hold open houses on this, and I'm going to give you this, and I'm going to give you this person, and I'm going to develop you into what I want you to be.
And I want a referral fee.
And I want my 30%. 30%? Come on, Lance. Yeah, I want 30%. Actually, from you, I want 40%. Why? Well, because you need help. Now, if you can convert them all, then you get all of them. If you can't convert any of them, dude, I love you. Who can convert buyers? And then you come to the broker and you say, Lance, I need some help here. I need 100 grand. 10,000 of that needs to come from referring agent. I'm getting all these buyer leads that I don't have time to work with. I keep giving them to this Huckleberry. He's not doing anything with. Who's the best buyer's agent in here? It appears as though our best buyer's agent is Sally. So now I go over to Sally. Sally, are you too busy for me? Hell no, I'm not too busy for you. Keep them coming. Because Sally's business model is maybe just that. Who speaks Spanish in here? 1, 2. Guys, do you have any idea what an advantage you have over all the rest of us? If you don't, figure it out.
You get a lender that speaks Spanish.
Yep.
Okay? All right, so I hear a couple gringos over here that are not going to refer out because they're going to keep it all. Okay, good luck. My experience with Spanish-speaking buyers, and that doesn't mean, I don't necessarily mean only Spanish-speaking buyers. There are Spanish-speaking buyers, and then there are buyers that speak Spanish and English. My experience is even those buyers, they're perfectly fluent in English, but they prefer to do business in Spanish. And I don't care how nice you are or how good your lender is, if they are referred to a quality Spanish-speaking agent, they will drop you in a heartbeat. And it has nothing to do with prejudice or preference, it has to do with comfort level. I want to do business in a language I am more comfortable with, and that is not English.
Somebody you can communicate with.
Right. So, if you're going to get Spanish-speaking buyers and you don't speak Spanish, and I'm with you, I totally get it. When I got the Spanish-speaking lender, I'm going to do what I can. I get it. But you know what? If you don't develop a relationship with some Spanish-speaking agents in this office, you're an idiot. Because you're going to feel it, and you're going to call them, how'd it go with Jose, the lender I referred you to, who speaks Spanish, but it's kind of a very stereotypical name. I just pulled it out there, take it off the tape. Okay? And they're going to feel very patronized, and he was okay, and I'm going to feel that, hold on a minute, you know what, obviously this isn't going to work. Let me get you over to Javier and Anna. They're a real Spanish-speaking agent. And then, hey bud, are you okay with the 20% referral over here? Most of the time they're going to say, yeah. And they're going to eat it up. I got to tell you, if I'm a Spanish-speaking agent, I'm somewhere in my source of business, I'm probably going to put 20% of my income is going to come from incoming referrals from English-speaking agents. And I'm going to market myself to all of those English-speaking agents. Say, I'm the best Spanish-speaking agent in this office, hands down. Here's my presentation, here's my stuff. Get them all to me, let me handle it. And unfortunately, I don't have the ability to put that into my business model. I don't speak French or that other type of language. I easily think a good Spanish-speaking agent can bring it 20%. Okay, so from a buyer's perspective, we're going to do the same thing. And so we got to write 10 offers to get 1 accepted, to get 10 open, and then we're going to basically go from there and we're going to close. And then we still also have to answer this question. Why did 2 of our transactions fall out? And you want to tighten that gap up. I shouldn't have opened escrow in the first place. I've done it. If you do this business for a period of time, especially as someone who's new, you will say, shit, I never should have written that. I took the offer to lender A and they told me it couldn't be done. So I went over to lender B and they told me they could do it. So we went over there, we got it accepted, and sure enough, lender A was right. And lender B has been stringing me along for months and months and months. Everybody's unhappy. I'm all stressed out, and ultimately at the end, which by the way, these 2 deals that fell out, they take 10 times more work, energy, effort than the deals that closed. Stress. The deals, there are transactions that will drive you out of this business. Hopefully, they're not your first few. If you open up some stinkers, your first 3, 4, 5 deals that you open up as a brand new agent, and they're the terrible ones, you'll never want to do another deal ever. Hopefully you get a couple of good ones under your belt first, and then you experience that deal from hell. That just, who's lost sleep over a deal? Who's physically been sick and ill over a deal? Physically ill over a deal. And especially now, again, you know, we were talking earlier about phones with no caller ID. You know, oh crap! Sally's on the. Or the other agent, or the lender, or whoever it is in the deal with bad news, and you don't call, and you don't pick up, and we don't call them back, right? That's human nature. We avoid that. It's a whole other class. Don't avoid those calls. Pick them up. Deal with them. Okay, so we need to tighten up that gap. So a big part of this business plan is how many escrows, how many are going to close, where do we have to be income-wise. Now there's another part that we've kind of skipped by. I'm going to go back over here. I think my connection is basically pretty much dead and lost. But one of the things, let me see if I can get this to revive itself. Part of this is just not a shotgun. You need to decide where you're going to work and what type of business you're going to take. Okay? Now, Bob made a comment earlier, you know, we take everything, and I totally subscribe to that. I mean, I took business today up in Victorville area that maybe a few years ago I probably always would have taken it. But there is an argument to be made that maybe I shouldn't have taken that business. Okay? Now let's have the same argument with our business plan. If we have a business plan that says in order to make $100,000 and we can only handle so many listings and so many buyers and they need to be in a price range somewhere in here in order for me to make it, what happens if I take half of my listings at $75,000? It's not going to work because I'm going to have to take 4 times as many, which means I'm going to have 4 times as many appointments. Which means I'm going to have 4 times as many flyers and 4 times as many open houses and 4 times as many anything. So you have to know that. And you also have to know the cycle. So I'm just going to quickly look at these prices. These are prices going up, and this is all CRMLS. So if you're just going to use CRMLS as a sample, and if you need to be in a business sales price range of $300,000, then you're fine as long as you're selling and listing the median price. If you're not in the median price, you're screwed. You're never going to hit your goal. I just keep gravitating towards these little condos. Oh, which by the way, what happens when you get the little $80,000 condo? That's a beautiful thing. By the way, when you get a listing, another nice thing about a listing, not only do you get phone calls from people who want to buy your listing, you also happen to get phone calls from other people who own similar properties who might want to sell that listing, especially if you do a good job. Listings are where it's at.
You become known as the $75,000
right.
condo.
The next thing you know, you do a good job, you sell the $75,000 condo, and you got another one, and you got another one, and you got another one, and you got another one. Which is good, because you need 4 of them to equal one of those. Right? So, now, do we walk away from the condos? Very, very difficult. Very, very difficult to do, especially if you're brand new. And the answer is no, you don't walk away from the $75,000 condo. But you have to know that has an impact on your business model. If you keep taking $75,000 listings, you're not going to hit your goal. Right? So, of course, then the easy answer is well, then geez, then we just go out and we take $1 million properties, right? Because those are easy. Right? Okay, well, not so much. But you have to be cognizant of the price range that you're in. Definitely have to be cognizant. Now also, I'm not going to pull up the MLS. Some of these things, I'm just going to do the math really quick. Let's just pretend, okay, let's use this $300,000 price for a moment. By the way, right, the average price right now for our 5 offices combined is probably, the average sales price in our city is probably right around $250. We got some high flyers. Comina's got some $800-900 million property, or, excuse me, Claremont. Javier, what? Claremont has some higher priced ones, but
900 million?
if 900,000, got a couple $1 million sales, had some couple nice $100,000 commission checks come into the office. Some very, very good agents. You deserved every dollar of that. Which, by the way, don't ever apologize when you go out and you finally get that $1 million sale, and you do the math real quick, and you're going to cash a $30,000 escrow check. Why are you not worth $30,000? 3% of $1 million bucks. Why are you not worth that?
Okay.
Oh, of course I'll do it for. Yeah, okay, I'll do it for $5,000. What? You're going to do it for 0.5%? What? What? Well, yeah, because I get $5,000 on everything else. I'm not worth 30 grand on a 30. Yes, you're worth 30 grand. And if you don't, number one, if you don't think you're worth the 30 grand on that deal just because you happen to have cashed a check over here for 1,500, which was more work, has nothing to do with it. Has absolutely nothing to do with it that you just worked on a deal and cashed a $1,500 escrow check, and now you're going to work on a different deal and you're going to cash a $30,000 check. If you don't see the value in that, you need to see the value in that, especially if you want to hit this damn goal, or God forbid you want to put a 2 in front of it, or whatever it happens to be. So let's do the math real quick. And you have to be aware of this. If you're working in a marketplace and you are in a $300,000 sales price, commissions are important. A 6% commission on a $300,000 price is different than a 4% commission on a $300,000 price. Or a 3%, or a 2%, or a 1.5%, or whatever it happens to be. So that has to be part of it. So when I'm talking with Karen and I want to take her listing, and I'm sitting back and I'm telling her that 6% of $300,000 is $18,000, and I'm thinking in my mind, well, half of that is 9, and then I'm on a 70-30 split. I got to take the Coldwell Banker thing off, and I get 70% of that. So my piece, let's just say, is $6,500. Just doing the math really quickly, okay? So she sees 18,000. I see 6,500 today. If I double end it, or if I go to my broker and I renegotiate, or whatever it happens to be. But I have to make sure she understands and sees the value in this number, even if I get the whole damn thing. But again, this is important math. Because if I'm calculating my numbers based upon, say, $6,500 per deal, but now I'm not taking my listings at 6%, or I'm not getting 3%, I'm not getting 2, I'm not getting 1.5, what happens to this? I'm in big trouble. It's the equivalent of taking the $75,000. It's the equivalent of taking the $75,000 condo, which is why a lot of time. Which, by the way, I know we're way past time, so if anybody needs to bug you out, because I'm going on, I got another 40 minutes in me easy. That's why when we start taking listings, we have to be aware of our value and what we're going to take. I don't take 4% listings, ma'am. I don't take 5. 6%. And by the way, most of the time it'll never be a topic of discussion. 10, 15, maybe 20% of the time you'll have a negotiation with the seller over a commission. Most of the time they just, 6% is what they charge. Okay? It's amazing. We negotiate commissions before our seller even thinks about negotiating commissions. We cut our own throat before the seller even asks us to, because we don't see the value in the money. So when you're going through the MLS and you're taking these listings, you need to take listings at a price that's going to get you to your goal. Got to be competitive, of course. If I'm going out saying I'm going to take all my listings at 7% and I'm not competitive, I might have a problem getting my listings. Well, I'm the best. Okay? And then we've got, who's had this experience? And I know it's frustrating as hell. You go out, you're on the buy side of the transaction. Boy, it's amazing how the pendulums swing on how commissions get split. But you're on a buy side of the transaction. You're offered 2% as the buyer's agent. That's what it says in the MLS. Therefore, that's what we have to accept. Correct?
No.
Yes? Who said no?
No, you could write up a...
Not if it's in the MLS.
You could write up an agreement with the...
No, if it's in the MLS. No, not, you can, but that's a violation of MLS rules. We have in our MLS, our agreement with the MLS is we agree to accept whatever is posted in the listing or the selling office commission by the listing agent. Now I could call you and I could say, dude, you're offering 2%. Come on, man. throw me a bone, which is probably skirting the rule itself. No, it's 2%, but that's how it is. Now I can't write, if I write an offer and I put in there as a contingent of the offer, you're gonna have to pay me 3%, that's a violation of the rules. Nobody ever reports it, but that's a violation of the rules. But let's just suppose it's 2%, we open up escrow, I accept 2%, commission is, has anybody noticed, the old school guys will realize this, in the old days, when we used to get commission instructions, it would say the listing office 3%, $6,000, the selling office 3%, $6,000. It would be on the same commission authorization. About a year or so ago, they started chopping them up, and they wouldn't give you what the other side got. And you know why? Because the listing agent was taking 4, and they were offering 2.
Right.
And you son of a. But you know what? Listings are at a premium. They busted their butt. They went out on all the appointments. They got it. The market said I can get away with it. Whether it's good long-term business practice is a whole nother story. You might make a whole bunch of enemies out there. I will never ever again show Javier's listing because he only gave me 1% and he took 5. And I'm telling everybody out there that that guy is dirty, rotten scandal. You may have closed a lot of business, but you also may have made a bunch of enemies in the industry during that period of time. But at any rate, that's very, very important. What that split is and what that commission is. And this is all part of your business plan, guys. This is like, do we want to be a Nordstrom's or a Walmart? Okay? And there's nothing wrong with either one of those. They're highly successful companies.
Bless you.
But if you're going to be a Walmart, what does Walmart do? They make it up in volume. Nordstrom's, price per copy is a little bit higher, a little bit better service, whatever it happens to be. If your business model says I can do the extra volume, I can put in the extra hours, I can do 100 deals as opposed to 50. It's always frustrating when you go to awards parties. We're going to have our awards ceremony in January. And you sit back and you'll see, Sally Smith with the ABC office closed 75 deals in $3 million in production. And then John Jones with the other office closed 12 deals with $12 million in production. And Sally's like, what? I did 5 times more transactions, and that guy made 10 times more money. I worked 90 hours a week, and he worked 20. Now, of course, it doesn't always work out that way, right? I mean, there's some variances in that. But that's part of the model. You got to factor all that stuff into transactions. Where are you gonna get that? And then of course commission splits. Okay, am I on a 60-40? Am I on an 80-20? Am I on a 90-10? Who is aware that we have 100% commission programs in this office? Who? You do $22,500 in company dollar. You're on 100% for the rest of your calendar year. Whatever year you're on. $22,500 in company dollar. So to do the math really quickly, it doesn't work exactly this way, but you bring in, say, $140,000 in GCI, about $22,500 comes into the brokerage, you keep the difference in every deal you close during the rest of that cycle. You're on 100%. Shirley's looking at me like she never heard that before.
that.
If your commission was lower, you could actually pay it off faster.
There you go. Someone's done the math. Somebody who how long have you had your license?
2 weeks.
The guy's had his license for 2 weeks. He's never closed a transaction. He's already done the math, and he said to himself, if my commission split is lower, I pay the $22,500 quicker, and now I'm on 100% that much faster.
Aggressive.
Let me get you want to really be aggressive?
Yeah.
Cut me a check for $22,500. You're on 100% for the rest of the year. Now that may sound, think about it. That may sound completely foreign to everybody in this room. There are agents in real estate offices all over the country that in the beginning of the year, they write their broker a check. Basically, for lack of a better word, here's my rent. I'm paying you my rent for the year, and every deal they close, they get 100% of that transaction for the rest of the year.
It's like being a police.
Now, I can tell you, those people are probably have income goals that are higher than $100,000 a year. They're probably even higher than $200,000. But think about it this way, let's suppose you made $500,000 last year. Let's suppose you saved some of that. It's now January. You got a business, you got a pipeline, you got some kicking butt. Could you envision yourself cutting a check to your broker, to private office, and copy or fax, receptionist? Here's $22,500. And I'm gonna get everything for the rest of the year. So you gotta think about it a little bit differently. Where you sit today, you might think that's the silliest thing I've ever heard. There's no way in the world I would pay in advance. But that's especially high-end stuff, that's not all that uncommon. So I've got this up here for a reason. This is another thing that's very very important. These are closed, this is our price, these are also closed transactions. These numbers vary a little bit, but one thing you need to keep in mind is what the trend is for closings throughout the year. This is again CRMLS. You want to plan your year the best you can, and I got to tell you, I'll be the first one to tell you, this is tough. And there is no scientific, this is not science. There's a lot of wild ass guessing going on when it comes to this. But if you look at these are closed transactions in the entire MLS going back for 2 years. This is last month. Last month was not great. 9,800 deals, but if you compare last November to the November before, it even looks worse.
Oh, shit. I haven't seen those numbers.
We did about 20% less transactions this past November than we did the November a year ago. Can you feel that? I can feel it. I feel it. And again, this is the entire MLS.
If that's accurate, then January's gonna be slow this year.
Okay, well, then you go back and you take a look at January. January dropped off. Actually, we had a great December last year. December even was better than November. But January, February of last year were a little bit tough. But again, can you always compare month over month from year to year? There's all sorts of varying factors. Last year we had a lot of investors, the market was hot, values were going up, things were super excited. This year we cooled off. Last couple, 3 months anyway. I'd say August, September, October, things have cooled down a little bit. Not sure exactly what's going to happen. It's very, like I said, there's not an exact science to this. But when you start looking at these units, and by the way, who's taking what percentage of their business are they getting and at what time of the month? So you got to prepare to make hay. Which will also, this is also no excuse to not go to work in October, November, December.
Okay.
All the more because by the way, a lot of people see these and they stop working, which actually could be a good thing. Because a lot of people they just check out. Well, there are transactions being done. Last year there was 12,280 houses that closed escrow in the month of December. Let's suppose business is off by 20% this December. Well, we're still going to close, let's just say 10,000, right? But what if 50% of the agents stopped working last month? Because things are getting tough.
More
Less
sales per agent.
competition.
More sales per agent. Exactly. More sales per agent. So when you've got agents that are checking out, which happens all the time, and sometimes they check out because it's the season, and sometimes they just check out because that's part of their business model. It's vacation time. Okay. That also happens. That's also very typical when you take a look at like months of September. Look at September. Look at the drop in sales in September of this year. This is September last year. We had a great June, July, August, and then September dropped. Look at this year. June, July, August, what happened in September? September dropped. Now why is that? School. Now, but it's not just the buyers stopped buying and the sellers stopped selling because of school. It's also the agents weren't working as it's kind of like the last hurrah of summer. So the agents are taking the kids on the final vacation and there's just less business being done. Now let's suppose you're one of those agents who didn't take off August. There's less competition. There's less people out there to fight for that listing. There's less people working with buyers. There's less open houses. So even though those months look like down months, you as a hard-working agent can go in and just capture just that much more business. Which again is all part of the deal, which is why you got to have a plan. Okay, so we want to put numbers on all of these. Now I have not calculated this out, but let's just look at we just said we're going to close 18 deals. What's 18 times 6,500? Anybody? 100 grand?
Okay.
Okay, 100 grand. Let's just pretend it's 100 grand. Okay? So What if you wanted to make more than 100? And let's assume all of these numbers worked and your average commission was 6,500. Well, you gotta close more deals, or you gotta close more expensive deals. Or let's suppose, whoa. My average deal is, my piece is 2,800. Okay? Well, let's do the math. Well, now you've got, instead of closing 18 deals, looks like you're gonna have to close like 50. Right? At 2,800, 47. Something has to change. The numbers gotta go up, the commission's gotta go down, commission's gotta go up, whatever it happens to be. So you have to be aware of that. And again, you're gonna have some stinker deals. And frankly, you're gonna have some deals which you're gonna lose money. You're gonna get the $600,000 listing. You think you're gonna have a big, huge check to cash. You're gonna make a mistake. And you're gonna walk away with nothing. So instead of having a $10,000 or $12,000 check to cash because you got the nice big fat escrow to open, you made a mistake and you're going to spend $9,000 replacing a roof because you screwed up with something. So, and those certainly happen as well. Okay, now getting back to what we're going to do, where you're going to come from. So, is everybody with me so far? You kind of got the general plan. Now you got to figure out what you like doing, where your business is coming from. So let's just keep this simple. My sphere of influence, I want to get 20% of my business, so $20,000. Past clients, maybe for you that's zero because you might not have none. Maybe for Eric it's 20%, $20,000. We mentioned Mike earlier, he came in and left. I don't know this for sure, but I think 80% of Mike's annual income comes from past clients. What a great position to be in. All you got to do is stay in touch with your past clients. I think 80% of his business comes from past clients. If you were new to this office and I recruited you, I gave you two numbers. We haven't had this conversation. You have two yearly goals that you need to set for yourself. The first one is 2 years, the second one is 7 years. 2 years is from the day you get your license. I don't care where you work, you need to stay in this business. You have to commit yourself as part of your goal, irrespective of how much money you make, you have to stay in this business for 2 years, no matter what. Now that's my magical number, and the reason I say 2 years is because in my opinion, it will take you 2 years to figure out, number one, whether you're any good in this business, and number two, whether you like this business. Because being good at it and liking it are two different things. You could be good at it and hate it, and you could be terrible at it and love it. But, which frankly is what a lot of people are. A lot of people are terrible at the business, but they love it. That's why they stay in it forever, don't make any money. Okay, which for me, it's tough to love it if I can't pay my bills because I don't have the luxury of money coming in from somewhere else. So 2 years is the goal, is just to see if you can make it in the business. The 7 years gets to the past clients and the customers. If you can stay in this business for 7 years, and you can treat all of your customers well during that 7-year window, you should be able to increase this percentage of income every year from that point forward. If you treat them well, and you stay in touch with them, and you stay in contact with them, and you're constantly following up. And again, Mike Boab, there's no better example in this office than Mike. Mike, to be honest with you, just kind of comes in and goes out, and he would probably disagree with this, but he never seems to be working too hard. He always seems to be in a relatively good mood. Always seems like he's on his Harley and just came back from someplace. And he's in a huge percentage of his business, past clients. His clients love him. And that's not an accident. And he stays in touch with them. Okay, but for our sake, 20, for sale by owner, maybe that's 0. Expired listings, maybe that's 5 or 10%. We'll see. Phone prospecting. And again, we can break this out into many, many different categories. We're just using these for an example. So let's just say 20, 100% of our income is X. Now you have to focus. So if I'm going to do 20% of my income as open houses, every one of them have to go on my calendar. Every one of them have to be scheduled. Every one of them will go here. And I'm going to schedule every Saturday and Sunday for the rest of my life for open houses. By the way, can you hold an open house on a Thursday?
Yeah.
Of course you can.
Check it out.
Peace, guys. All right, drive careful.
Thank you.
Hopefully the traffic won't be too bad heading out.
Thank you.
Bye, everybody. See you guys. So you've got your open house income, you've got whatever income you've got, but now you also have to determine what you do well and what you do not do well. So I'll just use one example. If you have decided after 6 months that open houses are not your thing, you gotta give it 6 months, then don't do any more open houses. Replace it with something else, something that you do like doing. We talked earlier that maybe it was a silly example of passing out flyers, 200 flyers a day. If you try that and you determine, I just can't do this, this is terrible, then don't do it. Replace it with something else. Basically, replace it with something that you do well, and will consistently do, day after day, week after week, month after month. Okay? Because, but you have to replace it. For example, I have a problem. I have like 3 things that I'm supposed to do for exercise for me. I'm supposed to go water skiing, I'm supposed to go snow skiing, I'm supposed to walk my dog, or I'm supposed to go to the gym. And guess what? I hate going to the gym. Water skiing only works for me for about 3 months out of the year, because that's when it's warm enough to do it. Snow skiing maybe a couple of months of the year, and it's much harder for me to get up the mountain as a legitimate exercise source. Walking my dog doesn't really do it for me. So from a prospecting standpoint, I have a problem. I need to find some physical activity that I actually will do and enjoy doing. Okay? So that when my coach would say, well, join a softball team, or join a bowling, or whatever. Okay? Because what I'm doing, sphere of influence, past clients, sports club owners, expired, I'm not good at any of it, I don't do it. And that's the downfall. That's the downfall of New Age. Oh, geez. That's tough. Oh, that's just, oh, God. Just, oh. Find something you like. That's why a lot of these networking groups I think are fantastic. Okay, because they can be kind of fun. You know, go to some of the networking stuff. Go to the Rotary Club, the Chamber of Commerce. And you might think, oh, geez, really? Am I really doing business there? You are really doing business there if you're doing what they're designed to do. You're going there, you're passing out cards, you're making contacts, you're doing your stuff, you've got some fly. There's a social aspect to this business. It's hard to be a successful realtor and not have that outgoing personality when you engage.
Yeah, you gotta be at everything.
You gotta be at everything. And you gotta engage. And
I even did a bowling league.
I do a
Even though I
bowling
don't
league
like
and
to
get clients
bowl.
several.
all the time. And it's fun.
I love my bowling league.
It's fun.
And I got somebody that
I
said,
hate bowling.
I didn't know you were a realtor, and then he said
Pass
to
out
my
the
friend,
cards.
call you.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, think how cool it could be. Let's suppose bowling is it for you. And if you found that you just were in 6 different bowling teams, 1 a day in different cities every week, and you just bowled every night, and you made buddies, and you realized by doing that that was good for a couple listings a month and a couple of hires, and you sold to all of your teammates during the day, and you bowled with them at night, and you got a little extra. I don't know if bowling's good exercise or not. I think I'd be drinking more beer than burning calories.
I think Steve sponsors soccer teams.
Whatever it is. That's why all of this, you have to find out what your niche is. If you like, if you have young kids and you want to coach the soccer, again, some people want separation. I get that. You know, we talk about churches and stuff. You know, do I want to solicit the people in my church? That is an absolute decision that you have to make. I think most people who are active in their church probably find that to be a line they don't want to cross. Frankly, I think other people have no problem with that. They're very active in their church, and everybody knows that's Bob the Realtor. Okay, maybe it's not in your face, but everybody knows, and you're professional about it, and you're respectful about it, and it's not awkward. Okay, but you figure out what's the appropriate line and what it may be and what you're good at. So with that in mind, that's where you figure out what your percentage is, and then that's where you spend your time. So again, we're oversimplifying this, but if we wanted to get 100% of our business out of our sphere of influence, then this is what I would have to do. My 35 hours a day of prospecting would be something along the line of going through my database. And let's just start on number 1. And Chemical Bank's going to be a little hard to contact, but let's start scrolling through. And Woodland. Okay, is there an opportunity for me to do business with Lakeview Sunday Homeowners Association? Let me send them a piece of mail. Let me call the board of directors. Hello, sphere of influence. this is who I am, and then I go to, I'm oversimplifying this. Is there an opportunity for me to do something with Willow Wind Enterprises? And so Quaid International and Telebank, obviously these are sorted by business. How about, I've done business in the past with Fannie Mae, okay? So maybe I'm thinking there's gonna be a new REO cycle coming up. So this is my sphere of influence. These are all of these people here are designated contacts in one form or another with Fannie Mae. Okay?
Yeah, we got subprime, so we're gonna have a repo.
So there you go. So I sit back and maybe it's not appropriate to call everyone, but I sit back and say, hey, for the next 60 days, Elaine, Lance, I know I haven't talked to you in a long time, but I'm thinking there's gonna be another cycle coming on. Can I help you? Am I positioned properly? What can I do? Hey, Alex. Hey, Allison. Hey, Angela. Hey, Anna. Hey, whatever, blah, blah, blah. And maybe I'm friends with them on Facebook. Maybe they're no longer at Fannie Mae, and maybe they went to Bank of America. Maybe I can find them on LinkedIn or something like that. So I'm going to take all of my sphere of influence, and I'm going to call them. And hopefully, I'm going to have a decent relationship. I can call Armand, for example.
How's our mom doing?
I can call Armand and say, Armand, Lance, Global Banker, Town and Country, you've been my sales rep at Fannie Mae for many, many years, and I've got my entire history of contacts with Armand going back to, when did I start doing business with him? I got all my stuff, just like I showed you earlier with Bob. It's like Armand and I started doing business somewhere in the neighborhood of 2009, I think was the first contact I had. He gave us an assignment to beat people up for Base Drive. So I call Armand, how's it going? Oops, I'm sorry, you're in jail. Armand got arrested for stealing money from soliciting bribes from sales brokers.
We can give you some referrals though, right?
Exactly.
Yeah, bubbles in there
But-
too.
trying to take one.
Yeah, isn't that great? Oh, you gotta love it. I mean, seriously, you gotta love it. So at any rate, so if I'm gonna get my business from sphere of influence, then that's, now again, this is 20 years of contact management. This is 20 years of my number one priority. I know you guys have already forgot it. My number one priority is my contact management system. And I'm committed to it. I may not be committed to getting down to 190 pounds. I live in this. I live in this program. Okay? And I have a sphere of influence. If my business went empty, if every one of my agents and every one of my offices just left tomorrow, this program's called Gold Mine. I literally have a gold mine of future business here. Okay? I've got names, I've got addresses, I've got phone numbers, I have history. And when you go through them, you know, we've got other, I'll show you another example just on sphere of influence, kind of quickly how this works. Little different groups. This is just a group, this is an old group. I have 287 agents that I have earmarked that are just basically Moreno Valley agents. So if I said today I want to contact, for some reason, I want to focus on agents that I have a relationship with in Moreno Valley, I've got 287 of them that I could just sit down and call for the next couple of days. Or send them a letter, or send them a handwritten thank you note, or go to their office. Which, by the way, that's prospecting. I could spend the next 2 weeks, I'm going to drive to the offices and I'm going to go in and I'm going to see if Bob is still there. I'm here to see Bob Capps all the time. No. Just thought I'd see it. That sounds like an awful waste of time. It might be a waste of time, but that's what I'm working my sphere of influence. And to go through all of these contacts. So, anyway, getting back to our plan of action, that's when you then take whatever you're going to do and you plug it into your calendar. Put it on here. And this is why I said earlier, if you don't know what you're going to do tomorrow, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, then you have to sit down. But this takes time, by the way. I mean, I've given you a shotgun. We're going on 3 hours. We're going to wrap up here in about 10 minutes.
Is there anything on here about the time with a time management schedule for where you can block out things for different prospecting activities?
Well, we actually have a totally different class on that.
Okay.
We'll end with that.
Okay.
We'll end the class with that. Let me just finish through this. So we go through our percentage, you get your income, and then to kind of tie into what Steve is saying. Now we've got our strategies. what are we gonna do? How are we gonna do our prospecting? Internet, bus stop ads, whatever it happens to be. You plug all that down. This is the activity. Now this is old school. These are my activities. And it sounds silly, but that's what coaches are all about. Tomorrow I want you to go knock on 200 doors. Come back. Show me your bloody knuckle. Okay, that looks like 200 doors. Next day I want you to go out and knock on 200 more. Let me see you knock that scab off. And that's really what this is all about. And we're going to talk about how to put that into a calendar in a little bit. And then you make your commitment and you sign it off. So let's just jump right into what Steve was talking about. I'll give you an example. As a matter of fact, I'll build a little bit of my calendar for next year. Okay, now again, I'm going to use a silly example of my gym. All right? Let's suppose I have looked at my last year's history and I've decided realistically I'm only good to work out 2 days a week. So what I'm going to tell myself is this year, in 2014, instead of saying I'm going to work out 7 days a week and only doing 2, this year I'm going to make the commitment. And the commitment is I'm going to do it no matter what. Look myself in the mirror, write it on the bathroom mirror. And this is basically what I want all you guys to do. You go to your calendar. I'm going to put this on me. So I go to my contact. I click schedule. I click an appointment. Big bold caps this time. Workout. That's going to make the difference. Okay. Now maybe I can put in here, gym, ski, blah, 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 whatever I'm going to do, workout. And this is what we're going to do. So when are we going to start? Well, God, we can't start the first, right? That's no good. No one wants to work out on the first. So I'm going to start on Tuesday, 7th.
Procrastination.
Yep, I'm procrastinating already. And I'm going to end, I'm going to kick this out for
Start the new year off right.
a year. End on Tuesday the 30th. What time am I going to do it? I've decided that the mornings don't work for me. For whatever reason, I just can't do it in the morning. All right, so I'm going to do it in the evening. I'm going to 7 o'clock, and I'm going to block off. How long is it going to take? It's going to take me. I'm going to block off 90 minutes to do my prospecting, if you will. And I'm going to do it weekly. And every week. Okay, so this has it set up for Tuesday. No more complicated than that. I click schedule. So now, if I go to my calendar, if I go to next month, January 7th, 7 o'clock, I'm working out. If I go to January 14th, 7 o'clock, I'm working out. If I go to March 18th, 7 o'clock, I'm working out. Very easy. I put on Thursday, put on whatever deal I do. Now again, we do our whole calendar with this. Open house, prospecting, bowling team, Moreno Valley, Thursday, bowling team, Riverside, Friday, bowling team, Corona, whatever you do. And this is where, if you can't afford the coach, let your calendar be your coach. So then when you get to March 18th, and you look at your 7 o'clock workout, and you don't go, and then you look at your $100,000 goal, you know why you didn't make it. Or in my case, when I look at my 190-pound goal weight, I can't blame the gym, can't blame my dog, can't blame Lake Paris. I can't blame the bowling league. I had the opportunity to do it, but I didn't. And that's where we fail as an industry. That's where we fail as individual agents, where we fail as managers and brokers and owners, is because we don't hold ourselves accountable to do what my broker did to me on that Sunday afternoon 27 years ago. What are you doing, Lance? You told me you were going to be at an open house today between 12 and 5. Why are you watching the football game? And then why are you telling me you have a goal of $100,000 when you're not serious enough to, which again, the reality is 10% of the agents, I'm guessing, but 10% of the agents in our business, forget about our office, actually have a written goal that they have any chance of obtaining. 90% of us don't even know what the goal is, and if we have a goal, it's some hypothetical mythical goal, there's no plan, and then when we don't make it, it's the market, it's the office, it's my manager is not helping me. It's the environment. It's too cold, it's too hot, it's whatever. So, but you really, again, I am huge in contact management. And then every one of these things, I mean, you kind of want to, and this is another thing to do. Let's just add another one. I'll give you a little different example. And this is how I would encourage all of you to do it. Let's talk about open houses. Open house, and let's suppose my goal is 104 open houses. That's 2 a week. 52 weeks. It's 2 a week. I want to do open houses, 104. So that's code for me. 104 for the year. 20%. 20% of my income goal. And maybe I'll just put 20 grand. $20,000. So now I'm scheduling an action. Okay, so what am I going to do this? Well, I said I'm going to do them every Saturday. So let's go to start today. And you don't have to do 6-hour open houses, but do what you commit to. If you say you're going to do your open house from 1 to 4, then do 1 to 4. If you say 11 to 5, do 11 to 5. Don't tell your client you're going to do 12 to 5 and then show up at 1. Well, they don't know the house is vacant. They know. They know the neighbor across the street, and they're calling. Hey, is my agent over there yet? Because he said he was holding it open today from 12 to 5. Well, yeah, he's here, but just so you know, he just got here at 2, and actually it looks like he's packing up right now, and it's only 3:15. They know. And your calendar said 12 to 5. So you plug it in here, you come in here, I'm going to do my open house from 12. It's going to take me 5 hours to do it. And I'm going to start on this Saturday, and I'm going to end the Saturday a year from now. Saturday the 20th, let's say. And I'm going to do it every week, and I've got my day scheduled, and I'm good. I think I need to put, Saturday's already
You
quick.
might want to make it 5 hours instead of 5 minutes.
Does that say 5 minutes? Come on now, you don't ask too much of me. Oh, 5 minutes? 5 hours would help. Okay.
He sells it for the first buyer.
Okay, so there we go. Now it took me a minute.
Boom, 5
And
minutes.
now I know on Saturday, January 18th, I got an open house. My goal is to do 104 of them this year, which I'm already screwed because I've only got 52 scheduled. Right? So I got to do Sunday. It's 20% of my income, and it means $20,000. So now every time I look at that, and I right click, and I delete it, it has to stare at me. I have to say, I guess I'm not going to get down to 190 pounds. I guess I really didn't mean I was going to do 104, 20% or $20,000. So then when I come to next Saturday, by the way, you know how easy it is to just not do these things? You know how easy it is not to go to the gym in the morning? You know how easy it is for me just to right click on this thing and say, I'm not going to go? God, that feels so good. Just click on today. This is my gym. You think I'm doing this tonight? Nope. No way.
Never going to see 190.
Feel better?
No. Guys, it's not rocket science. It's really not rocket science. So, we've got to get ourselves a CRM. This is where I want this. Let's put a plan of action together. It's almost 4?
Oh, it's 4.
We'll be done in 3 minutes. This is what you need to do. And again, as corny as this little sheet is, this is a very, very helpful sheet. Okay? Now again, for many of you, you don't have prior year's production. And this may be difficult. We can do one-on-ones. I'd be happy to sit down with you guys. We'll take some time. Watch the video, play it back. There's already a video that's posted on the website already for the last one of these I did. It's very similar but a little different. You might want to watch that because it'll be a little different than maybe what we did today. Set your goals, figure out how many listings you want to take, how many sales you want to take, what type of focus you want to do. Buyer's agent, seller's agent. Is this referral thing an opportunity for you? Can you take advantage of the Spanish market or not? Is there an opportunity for you to do referral business with other Coldwell bankers or other, it doesn't have to be Coldwell banker, can I refer, is there a way that I can make contact with agents in Riverside, for example? You think it's possible that there's some agents in Riverside that really are not interested in doing business in Moreno Valley?
Totally.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Like, can I get an amen? Okay. What can I do to approach those agents in Riverside to say, let me pick up some of that business in Moreno Valley? How do I do that? Do I write them a letter? Do I go to their office? Do I go to a board meeting? Do I do an email blast? Do I just call them? Say, hey, you don't want to mess with this little Moreno Valley stuff. You're too busy Riverside.
Send them an article from the press.
Let me be your guy. Whatever it may be. So you focus on those items, you plug them into your plan, you put them into your contact management system, and you execute. And then quite honestly, if you need some help and you need some encouragement, you need some guidance, you come to me, you come to Steve, you come to somebody who will hold you, maybe it's somebody else in the office. I'm not a big fan of teams, by the way. I do not like teams. I strongly discourage any of you from physically teaming up. And my definition of a team is you're going to do everything and you're going to split it and so on and so forth. However, I'm a big proponent. I encourage you to create partnership relationships. Go door knocking with some people. Do an open house together. Go do some of that stuff. Have kind of like a gym buddy. Okay? You know, actually, it's exactly like a gym buddy. This is the difference between a team and a gym buddy. Okay? If you go to the gym buddy, you work out hard, your gym buddy doesn't, you see results, they're still fat. When you do a team in real estate, you work hard, he doesn't, you split the commission. You're pissed, he's happy. Right? Okay? But if you want to have the gym buddy relationship where, hey, you know, Bob kind of encourages me when I go, he doesn't work out as hard as I do. He doesn't have any skills, but at least I like seeing him in the morning, we encourage each other and we go, but you're not sharing a checkbook. If you can get somebody like that in the office, that'll encourage you to do some cold calling, do some prospecting, go out and pass out some flyers. You may go out with that individual because they encourage you, but you also may realize, oh my God, this guy's wasting his time. I'm glad he's with me because he encouraged me to go. You go out and get 5 appointments, he gets 1. All right. Well, again, you get paid for your 5, he gets paid for his 1. That's not a team, okay? You know, teams, you know, unless you're sharing a bed or a checkbook, no teams. So, at any rate, I could go on for 6 more hours, guys. Get the goals, get your commitments, we can refine them together. Well, I'll take one question. Seeing none?
Can I make a comment? Guys, when you do your business plan, don't stick it in the drawer and not look at it again.
Yes.
And when you come to your coaching session with me or with Lance or whatever, get that thing out because sometimes you have to massage it a little bit. Talking about the business plan. Yeah. You have to massage it a little bit and adjust things accordingly, and that's why it's a plan. Sometimes you need to adjust it. Yep. That's something that should constantly be looked at and constantly be
constant.
Tinkered.
I mean, the word constant is an understatement. You have to be looking in your business plan all the time and change it. And don't be afraid to change it. Don't be afraid to throw pieces of it out. Don't be afraid to admit failure. I have, what's the date today? I have 18 days to lose 30 pounds. All right. I didn't do it. By the way, there's something refreshing about that. I don't know if you guys, I am a firm believer in just, you know, kind of get it off the chest, get it off the soul. Something's bothering you, just tell somebody, you know. Man, I didn't do it. I didn't hit my goal this year. I screwed up. Whatever it may be, I'm losing money. My marriage is falling apart. My life is in disarray. My business plan is a disaster. Really. Maybe there's somebody that can help you with that. You know, whatever it may be. All right, man, I can. And by the way, there are a lot of people in this office, and again, don't misunderstand about the team thing. There are a tremendous amount of people in this office outside of this room that are more than happy to share all of their knowledge and all of their expertise, and they'll do it willingly. They'll absolutely do it willingly.
I don't mind.
And how long have you been doing this?
24 years.
24 years. You sit down with someone like Bob, who is new to the office and has kind of come in relatively quietly, I tell you, he's only been in my contact management system for 4 or 5 years. I've known this guy for a long time, got a great
Well,
reputation.
you know,
great
over
knowledge
20
base.
years, you do the same thing. Everything you talked about,
Same stuff.
yeah, same
So,
thing.
so you go to Bob this afternoon or next week and say, hey, what are you doing? Can you share some stuff with me? Can we go to lunch? Can we, you know, can I come with you? Can I come with you on your next listing appointment? We talked about this earlier.
Yeah, well, it's like when you put that sign up on Wood Creek Court. You know, I was all over that.
Yep. Yep. Absolutely. Go on appointments. Go. Hey, you're showing property on Saturday. I know it sounds weird, but you stand up at the sales meeting. Is anybody showing property this week?
Karen did that yesterday.
Yeah, they are. Would it be okay if I went with you? What do you mean? I just want to, can I just ride along? I just want to see
I did
how
that
it's
when I was
done.
young.
I want to see how Debbie does it. How does Debbie interact with those buyers? And just, I just want to be a little wallflower.
You know
And then how does
I
Bob do it?
You know how a lot of my buyers, they've already looked up the property, they'll tell me, Bob, I'm interested in this house. They even give me the MLS number.
Yeah.
I bring up the MLS number, I
Yeah.
tell them, okay, I'll get back to you. I call the owner, can I show your house in an hour? I'll get back to my buyer, I'll say, meet me in front of the house in an hour, done deal.
Yep,
Thank you.
done deal. And not only that, let's just suppose you develop a relationship here with Bob, and I kind of look at William because he's new, and I know you're new, we got a couple of new folks here, but you sit back and say, the next time you're gonna go show property, if it's just on the spur of the moment, if you happen to see me in the office, could you just grab me so I can come along with you? I just want to see it. And then the same thing when Matt goes out, and the same thing when Shirley goes out. Because what you're gonna see is you're gonna say, wow, that's pretty good. Or you're gonna say, God, I can't believe he's been doing this for that long. I can't believe he said that to those customers. It was obvious that he was saying all the wrong things and he pissed them off. Which, by the way, don't assume just because somebody's been doing this for 24 years, they know what the hell they're doing. Right?
You know, I become their friend.
Of course.
It's like we've known each other for years.
Of course. Anyway, all right, guys, I think I have a 4 o'clock
Yes, you do.
appointment. Are they in the lobby?
So Debbie, 4
Are they
o'clock.
waiting?
I've
Okay,
got a
gang.
couple,
Hopefully
maybe
you saw some value in that
You
today.
seem
That was good.
familiar.
Thank you
like
very
I've
much.
known you from
Good
a
meeting,
while.
Lance.
I particularly like the advertisement that said "Grow thicker and richer here." I was enjoying looking.